Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Ladies Room podcast. I am your host, Ashley Michelle. I am so excited about this show. We got some great topics lined up, and I want to introduce everybody. We have Mrs. Cannon Hill,
Hey.
we have Mrs. Understanding,
Hi.
we got Mr. Darwin Hill,
What's up?
and we have Mr. Rashad.
Hey everybody, Happy New Year.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody. Jovo could not be with us today. She is living it up, y'all. Her and her husband are on vacation. They took
Living her best life.
Yeah, she is living her best life. So she is not with us today. But I know she's going to try to tune in a little later. All right. For those of you who are new to the Ladies Room podcast, we are a show that talks a lot about issues that pertain to most people, dating, relationships, love, sex, marriage, finances. We talk about some societal issues. We are going to talk more about finance and money and career. We have a lot of great topics in store for this channel. And we appreciate everybody who's already subscribed. If you are new, go ahead, hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned, so you can stay up to date about what is going on. Hit the notifications tab so you know exactly when we upload content. Okay. Today, like I said, we have some great topics lined up, and we have a special guest. Okay. We have a special guest to the ladies' room. I'm going to bring her in, and her name is Angela Price.
Hey. Hey.
All right. And Angela, I'm going to let you tell a little bit about yourself, but basically she is training for some really great things, bodybuilding training. She's on that path, and she's recently made some lifestyle changes. I've known Angela since college. Okay. So she's always been very fit and thin. I know recently Angela made some lifestyle changes with her diet, and she is definitely a beast now, and just getting better and better.
Thank you, sis.
Huh?
I said, thank you, sis.
And so Raven, y'all can kind of relate a little bit. Raven over here bench pressing 350. All right. But anyway, so our first topic is obesity in American women. Urgent matters. What can we do now? That is our topic. And Angela is here to share her insight and share her story about her fitness journey and talk to you all about all the great things that she's doing in her life to be healthy. All right. But before that, I do want to share some statistics. All right. Weight and obesity. More than 2 in 3 women in the United States have overweight or are overweight or obesity. They have obesity. Extra weight leads to many diseases that affect women, such as heart disease, diabetes, and many cancers. All right. This information is from the CDC website. It also says that non-Hispanic Black adults, about 49.6%, had the highest age-adjusted prevalence of obesity, followed by Hispanic adults and non-Hispanic white adults and non-Hispanic Asian adults. Okay, you guys can read a little bit more about obesity as related to socioeconomic status and race on your own, but the CDC does provide a lot of information to get you started. The prevalence of obesity, 42.4% in 2017-2018. That was the most recent data I found. All right. Obesity-related conditions include heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes. I'm sure a lot of you all have learned some of these stats, right? They're very alarming. Obesity, even though we're talking about women, but we have two men on the panel, so I want to talk about them too. Obesity affects 75% of men 40 years or older in the United States. Okay. It also says, well, this one doesn't say that. I would have to pull it up, but from this same source, it says that men are more likely to develop some health problems, certain health problems because of obesity. All right. It says there was a study conducted by the Johns Hopkins University that says, and I'll link this for you guys. It says that men are more likely than women to develop certain diseases, and those diseases are listed. I'm trying to pull it up. 1 second. Sorry about that. I can't find it. I'm going to link it, but they're more likely to develop certain problems like diabetes, hypertension, and a couple other things. But basically, obesity is an issue, right? It's a big, big, big issue in our society. It affects men and women, and it affects people of all ages, really. And I want to talk about that. All right. I think it's an urgent matter because we are literally dying. Like, we are dying a slow death, you know. Angela, I want to start out with you. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? You have embarked on this health journey.
Yeah.
And can you just tell us what motivated you? What motivated you to live a healthier lifestyle?
Right. So I'm Coach A. I'm the founder of the Amp Life Zone, Amp Life Fitness, the Amp Life Transformation Challenge. And I have a love and a passion for fitness. And my journey, and this started with my journey, and my journey actually started September 2019, just before the pandemic. Okay. And the reason why I made the change is just because I noticed that I was sluggish. I was tired, low in energy, wasn't able to keep up with daily activities, just had struggles getting out of the bed, period. I also had a convenience thing where I would end up in a drive-through after work. I was a busy woman, worked 9 to 5, and I didn't have time to prep meals. A lot of us have that happen where, we're adulting, we say, oh, we're adulting, and then we can't find nothing to eat for dinner, y'all. Like, what is going on? Okay. So I decided that I wanted to make a change. I set a goal for myself to lose 20 pounds. In the beginning of my journey, I just had a hunger and a passion for it, like I said, because I needed that energy. I wanted to keep up with my son and also to see my grandchildren. So some of us have that, others of us have, we just have some goals that we want to set for ourselves and just make sure we can have energy for daily tasks. But that was the reason why I started. So I began to train, and I decided that I was going to go into the city. It was 3 nights out of the week after work. Okay. So, a lot of the times why people make a change is because, it's too painful to remain the same way that we've been. And so that's the reason, why a lot of people make that pivot and that change. And so that's exactly what happened to me, and that was a direct effect for why I made the changes. So it was working out, it was nutrition, making sure that I balanced out, meal planning, all of that. I trained in the gym when it opened up, because like I said, my journey actually started pre-COVID, so all the gyms shut down, and so I did continue training at home. And so not only did I lose 20 pounds, but I did lose 30 pounds. And I kept that off for a year and a half. So I put into place, my consistency skill set, which I will train my ladies to do and continue to train my ladies to do my Amp Life Transformation Challenge program. And so fast forward a bit, not only did I lose the weight and kept it off for a year and a half, but I was doing a bodybuilding structure. You saw some of the photos that Ashley set up there. And that was from when I decided to join the organization of competitive bodybuilding. I entered the Women's Transformation Challenge August 2021 of last year, and I did take first place. So basically, I'm just here to tell everybody, whether you're struggling with obesity, whatever the case might be, you can do it. If I can do it, you can definitely set some things into place and just like rock it out. So let's go.
All right. I do have a few more questions for you.
Absolutely.
But just hearing Angela, can you all relate to this at all? Can anybody chime in? I know Raven, you are really adamant about being in shape, and I'm impressed that you can lift 350 pounds. So can you tell us a little bit about like what has motivated you?
Yeah. For me, similar to what Angela was saying, it was kind of like a pivoting moment. It was right after my mom passed. Lord, I got on the scale right after the funeral. I was like, hell no, this ain't it. Ain't no way in the world. It was impossible to me that I had gained that weight that fast.
Right.
But I started hanging out with my brothers more, because after she passed, we got closer. So then him, my husband, we were all in the gym lifting. And then, when you're lifting with men, you got to lift for real. You can't lift no little 10, 20 pound weight. So
you can't be playing around, sis. Right.
Yes. So that's how I got into powerlifting. And I'm not benching 350. I would, hope to get up to maybe not 350, but something like that. But, I'm benching a nice little amount. And I just did deadlifts this morning, 245. So, it was a nice, easy day.
Okay. All right. What about you all, gentlemen? Do you all have any similar stories? Have you had any periods in your life where you were like, you know what, I have to change the way I'm eating?
Well, yeah, for me, I started off cage fighting before I had kids. I was cage fighting. I was at a 135, 145 weight, and it was easy to maintain because, like she said, it's a lifestyle when you're trying to keep condition your body and eat healthy and stuff like that. It's definitely a lifestyle. It's nothing you can dibble and dabble with. You have to change your routine. You have to change your eating habits. You even have to change the people you hang around with, right? It's a whole lifestyle. You have to be involved in it and be committed to it. So I was 135, 145 before I had my first child. Had that first child, I couldn't spend as much time in the gym as I used to. So
keep in mind, he swear he was pregnant. He swear he was pregnant. I just want y'all to know that. I just had to tell y'all that.
I did get pregnant. And I gained that 10 pounds that pregnant men get. Did that 3 times. But now I'm up to like 210. I weigh 210. And it's definitely because, like you said, you start working, you have all these other commitments, child, schools, all these things. You kind of forgot about yourself. You lost yourself in the process. And plus you the older you get, the harder it is to lose the weight. You don't have the energy that you once had. You don't even have the passion that you once had because now most of your passion is going to your kids, and you're sacrificing a lot of your time for them. So
you gotta find you in the mix.
Exactly. So it's definitely hard. It's not an easy thing, and I commend everybody who stuck to their path because it takes a lot of sacrifice to keep that journey, and it takes a lot of sacrifice and support to even get back on that journey, right? Like you have your loved ones that they have to understand that you need this time to better yourself. And a lot of people, I'm just gonna speak for me. If you're not in a place where you want to be, you tend to like overcompensate in other places. And one of the other places that you compensate in is like instant gratification. Like eating is one of the best ways you can get instant gratification. You grab that candy bar, you instantly go put a smile on your face. It brings joy to your heart. Like food instantly makes you happy, right? So a lot of people like myself, I did that when I couldn't get into the gym and I couldn't do the things that I like to do. I did other things that I like to do, and that was eating. And So now it's I'm trying to get back on that journey right now. You know, I have I know how to get there. I know what to do. I know the exercise. I know the routine to get back to where I want to get to. It's just the sacrifice that I have to make, and just that kickstart. You know what I'm saying? Just that kickstart.
Okay. So I hear all of you all got to different points in your life where you're like, okay, I gotta, you know, do something different. Angela, you talked about some of those lifestyle changes. You know, I've been victim of that. Like after work, going for what's easy, or not so much after work. I was more so like during work, like for lunch type of thing. If I didn't, you know, pack my lunch, then I found myself going to get something quick, right? And so you had to start to change that habit, right? So what were some of the challenges that you had as you were making these changes?
Well, there's a lot of things that come up. Mainly it's just telling yourself that there's going to be a change. So I know tonight's topic is about obesity. Is there a sense of urgency for making that change, for recognizing like where we're at, wherever we're at? And so I would say there's absolutely some things that you could do right now to make those changes. One of them is to set some goals. So how many pounds do you want to lose? You know, what is your ideal weight? And what is a realistic amount of time for you to achieve that? You know, some people, they say, oh, I want to lose 15 pounds. No one likes this. You need to lose 65. Like, trust yourself. Like, trust your journey. Don't say you need to, you know, play small and then say you're trying to lose 15 pounds because you feel like once you're going to get in that gym, like you're going to fail. And then, you know, you kind of shorthand yourself with the process. So you just want to make sure, like, you know what your goals are, set some goals. You know, another thing that you could do right now is just to make sure that you have your resources set up. So, like, what does that look like, right? So resources meaning, okay, am I going to hop online? I'm finally going to buy that gallon jug from Amazon like I've been planning to do. I need to up my water. So go ahead, order that thing online. You know, sis, King, go ahead, order that thing online and make sure that your resources are set up. Do you need to, you know, set up some YouTube videos that train you how to do the movements, you know, for working out? And also, do you need to like download a meal tracker app, like whatever that looks like? These are resources. And like, is it Darwin? Darwin was saying, you know, you have to realize like where your support lies. Resources are support. You're doing this in advance. You're not gonna wait until you're just not gonna wait, period. That's what it is. Don't wait for you to start your journey before you plan the journey out. Like, set up your resources and make sure you solid, like you tight. When you in that gym, you like, let's go. Like, you already got it set up. And so, you know, and that's you know, what it should look like. Also, you know, plan your journey. That means also, like Darwin was saying, you know, let your family know, hey, you know, when you order that Chinese food and you come in here and I'm trying to do these meals, you know, I'm trying to plan these meals and, you know, choose more nutrient dense foods, you know, things that are lower in fat, low sodium, watching your carbs, all of that. Like, we know what good eating looks like. So letting them know, hey, I need your support. And I need you to make sure that you support me. Like, if I'm having a rough day, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to say, hey, you know, it ain't looking good today, or it is looking good, whatever the case might be. So like I said, set some goals, establish your resources, and then plan your journey out. Okay. You know, and in the pinnacle of all of that, like bringing that all together, be vocal, you know, just like we're doing now. We're just had a conversation and say, you know, I need to make a change. I need to lose that weight. You know, I'm having a rough day. A lot of times people, they will say, okay, you know, since I'm having a rough day, I'm just going to quit. You know, I was talking to a client of mine today and she was telling me, she like, girl, I started that. I stepped in and I stepped back out. Like, people think, okay, that's the failure. No, like, we all have up and down days. Some people roll up to the gym. They don't want to step inside. You know, It happens. It happens to your trainer, whoever. It happens to the strongest of us. So, just be vocal, speak up, talk to yourself, say, girl, come on. Like, get it together. All of that, whatever you got to do. I talk to myself. So you just got to have that positivity, be vocal with yourself. Hey, even set up a couple of Facebook support groups. Like if you in women bodybuilding over 30, if you in men bodybuilding, they got kids, you a single guy, like go and hunt out at least 2 groups. Throw yourself up in there, answer them little questions like we do and say, hey, commit to the guidelines, the standards, hold yourself accountable. Post in there and say, hey, I'm showing up, or I don't know how to do this workout. I ain't never did squats before. Like people will encourage you so much. That's the most embracing type of community, is people that have enriched their life with fitness. They will embrace you and they will hold you up. So yeah, those are some points that I just wanted to go over that will help us choose a new you in 2022, y'all. We got this.
Choose a new you in 2022.
Yeah, choose it and do it, boo-boo.
Before we move on to the next topic, I do want you to talk about that program. I cut out for a little bit, but you didn't get a chance to talk about it, right?
Absolutely. No, I actually didn't cover the program. It is called the Amp Life. Well,
1 second. I want to give you a chance to talk about it, but I had a question, Cannon. Okay. I wanted to ask you. I feel like you probably don't have like weight issues, right? Like, do you eat fairly? It seems like you eat fairly well. Or is it just natural for you to be,
girl? No, I was just gonna say that I think that when we are having a conversation about obesity in this country, obesity affecting the Black community, whatever it is, we really need to discuss the environment, and we really need to discuss the systemic situations that take place which lead people to be bigger. Like America, period, is one of the fattest countries. Like that's period across the board. It's not just for African Americans, but just like anything, any negative statistic that you have for America, you can definitely go ahead and put Black people at the top of the most negative part, because anything that's negative that affects us as a country is going to affect us the most negative, because we are generally in the worst socioeconomic situation as a group, right? And when you think about weight loss and you think about all of this stuff, our country is not really set up for people to be in shape. It's really not. It's like when you look at commercials, when you look at the food, you don't realize this stuff. Like it's funny that you just asked me if that's something that I've dealt with. What I was gonna say is that this conversation is always interesting to me because I've always been a very small girl. Like growing up all the way through high school, whatever. I mean, maybe $110 soaking wet, like always a very small girl. But I've always eaten whatever I want to eat. Like I'm from the south side of Chicago. Like we eat our Harold's, we eat our Peppies. We I'm eating my Italian beef sandwiches. Like I'm eating whatever I want to eat, but I've always been small. That's why this conversation kind of annoys me sometimes, because I feel like we automatically bestow some type of favor or grace to people who are just smaller people, as though they're like doing these great things. And it's like, no, I just always been a smaller person. I never really had to watch what I ate genetically. That doesn't mean that I'm healthy, right? You know what I mean? Just because I'm a certain size doesn't mean that I'm healthy. There's someone who could be larger than me, who could actually be healthier than me. But we want to have conversations that's so stuck on what somebody's actual weight is, as opposed to if people are being healthy. And the fact of the matter is that we're not. And so after my daughter is 4, and I did not start to have a real weight struggle until I had my daughter. Like I'm 38 years old. Like, so I had my daughter at 34. So, once you get over that 30 mark, that weight don't be moving like it used to have been moving.
Yes.
And that's what really stuck out to me when people have these conversations, as though when it comes down to things like your eating habits, your day-to-day, all of this stuff. This is not something that happens overnight in a vacuum. This is something I've been doing my whole entire life. So you're telling me that now all of a sudden I'm just supposed to jump up and know what to eat and how to eat and what to put with this and all of these things. Like, no, that's not just gonna bust out and be something at 38 that I'm just gonna automatically know how to do. It was very, like, I probably at my heaviest, I was probably 164 a couple years ago. That was after I had my daughter. And I've never been that size. So I was like, you know what? I got to do something. I got to get it off. So I had to do a lot of work to get, and I lost like over 30 pounds, right? But it took it, but that's what let me know that it's too hard. It should not be this hard just to eat right and to be a little bit more active. Like, it should not be this difficult, but our system is set up in a way that it is. Like just like the Imp Life said, if I don't meal prep and plan out the week, I'm probably going to be eating some stuff that I have no business eating, right? Because all the fast food restaurants got bad food. Like, it's really nothing to eat anywhere that's like healthy for you to eat unless you're cooking it yourself. And that's a problem. And that's why people are overweight. So the fact that we try to act like that doesn't affect or doesn't play into anything, it absolutely does. Because when people working 8, 9, 10 hours, you in your car. Like, I live in Atlanta. In Chicago, you could probably be a little bit more active because you could take public transportation a little bit more, right? Maybe I could walk a couple blocks, do whatever. In Atlanta, you ain't walking nowhere. You got to drive everywhere that you go. So what natural exercise am I actually getting, right? And then if I don't plan out my day, if I'm just trying to grab something to eat on a run, what am I probably eating? It's probably going to be bad food, right? While I'm working and doing all this other stuff. So to me, it's just, I'm not saying that we don't have any type of personal responsibility, because we absolutely do, but we just really have to address, the way that our society is set up for us to be freaking fat. It's set up that way. Like, the advertisement, they get our kids early, like, everything is set up for you to not be in shape. And it is going to affect, like I say, people who are in bad socioeconomic situations the worst. I don't know if you've ever heard of food deserts and different things like that, but they don't even have like fresh groceries in certain neighborhoods. And then the cheapest food is the worst food to eat. Like, you can get a box of freaking ramen noodles. You can get like all of this cheap food if you don't have a lot of money, and you can eat on it for a while, but it's not healthy. It's more expensive to eat healthier. Like, this made me realize it's way too expensive to be in shape. I had to spend a lot of money to get in freaking shape. Like, all types of memberships, all types of food, all types of figuring out, like you said, what you're supposed to eat, because that's not something that's readily told. Like, we got like the 5 food groups that we learned in school. Outside of that, what do we know about macros? What do we know about micro? What do we know about any of this stuff? I had to learn.
This is where, and I hear you, Kenan. I appreciate you mentioning that there is a disconnect between us trying to figure out how to eat healthy, and it is directly tied to what is readily available to you. Okay, when you get to the drive-thru, it's easier to just go and hop and say, okay, I'm gonna grab a number 6 on the way home, and and you enjoy that. It tastes good for the moment. You feel like crap afterwards. Okay, let's be honest.
It's purposely addictive.
It's highly addictive. The more that you eat things higher in fat content, the more you're gonna want to eat it. But let's just address the misnomer that it is more expensive to eat healthier than it is to enjoy fast food. Okay, that's a temporary thing. Okay, the idea is that you want to create and set up a healthy lifestyle. So correct. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tabitha Brown. She's a vegan. She does a lot of cooking online. She's very popular just with her positive messages and stuff like that. And she actually did challenge the idea that, it's cheap to achieve a healthy diet. You have to do your research. Beans are not expensive. They're high in protein. They're high in folic acid, fiber. Okay, you got broccoli. You got carrots. You can roast them. You can season them up. And I've been where you been, Cannon. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I've always been small. And even before we got on this podcast, sis, Ashley was like, girl, what is your issue? Like, you fit now? You was fit before. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, I've always been thin, and that comes from genetics. My mom she was thin. And so my issue came when I had my son. I was like, yo, I don't even have a fitness journey set up. I don't know how to start and kick this thing off because I never had anything established. I didn't have to worry about that. So then I started saying to myself, okay, now the way my body looks after I had my son, I said, I need to set something in place. I'm like, I'm not sexy no more. Okay. I had rolls on my back. I said, who is this woman?
Thighs rubbing together. Like, what is this?
Girl, my thighs was rubbing together. I had cottage cheese. When I grabbed them, it was ugly out here. Like when I tell you, it was ugly out here, I ain't want to deal with it no more. It was ridiculous to me. I said, I had to set something in place. And when I tell you, when we hit the pandemic, I just told you, remember how you were saying, okay, it's expensive to get these gym memberships. The gyms was locked down, sis. I couldn't get into the gym for a period of months. I had to use my body. I had to create a mind-muscle connection for myself.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you heard of what is her name?
It wasn't expensive.
Tabata Fitness. Her name is Kiara Lachey. I love her.
Yes. I like Kiara.
I love her.
I haven't heard of her, but I'm open. I'm open to hearing about her journey.
I want to
but I did want to share. I did want to share with you all. Like, I was not in the gym. Okay. So I could not take it. The man who was in charge of the gym, it was a private gym. He shut down all the memberships. He said, y'all ain't got to pay because ain't nobody had no money. I'm telling you, I lost my job in the pandemic. My job was to collect money from people. I was a loan officer. I lost my job because then nobody had no money to collect. I had to literally shut everything down. And this isn't just me that had to do it. We all saw it.
Yeah.
We all saw the world had to shut down.
And speaking on the gym memberships,
we had to do it at home.
I just want to put some information out there. Like when you have a kid and you looking for a school for a kid, you don't just put them in the nearest school or the first school you go to. Mm-hmm. You go and you check out a lot of schools, you do your research on them, and you see what best fits for you and the kid. So just like when you go get these gym memberships, I advise everybody to go stay for a day or two, ask them if you can get like a free trial period, see how you like it, see how you vibe with the people in there, the trainers and everything, see what type of regiment they putting you on, and see if it's actually working, and see if you it fits your schedule. Because I've been to a lot of gyms, and I can tell you, it's gyms out here that's just there to collect money.
Yeah, they're expensive for no reason.
Yeah, and then there's gyms that's out there that really cares about helping people achieve their goals. Because when I was training, I used to stay in the gym for about maybe 12 hours at the day, every day, from the morning to night. I trained some classes, I taught karate, and that was my lifestyle. That's what I did. That's why I stayed 135, 145 with no problem, because that's all I did.
Okay.
I wasn't working.
To you.
And we had women coming in, and they was telling us about their journey. Like, I've been trying to lose 20 pounds for like 2 years, and I can't do it. And they'll come to our gym, and they'll lose 20 pounds in 1 month. So it's a difference. If you see yourself not attaining your goal, it's just time to move around to another gym, because you're not there trying to lose weight. You want to lose weight. You're going to lose weight. That's the mindset you have. You should have accomplishments every day. Should be no disappointing days. Like you said, if you walk into the gym, that's an accomplishment. If you didn't do anything, like you said, it's people that don't even get up out the bed and go to a gym. So, and I know at my gym, when I used to walk in there, like you said, the support, when I walked in the gym, and the people, they can feel if you're in there and you have a down day, you're not looking the same as you was the day before. My coach used to grab me with my coat on, my boots on. If I was snowing or wet, he'd grab me, pull me to the floor, and I'd be down there wrestling with fully clothed, with my book bag still on. Got to take my book bag off, and I'm fighting, getting dressed and everything, because that's the support you need. You need people that's going to drag you into the gym and kind of like push you, because they know you, and you have to build a relationship with these people.
Yeah, that's what that's what I wanted to say, sis. Like, I ain't giving you no pushback on nothing that you said, right? Because everything that you said is 1,000% accurate. The only thing that I'm adding to it is that I feel like you can set people up for success, and you can also set people up for failure. And I just feel like we definitely have the way that our food is presented to us, the way that it's advertised, the way that our lives are set up. we are set up in a lot of ways for failure. And I feel like it's important for us to be mindful and aware of that, because a lot of times you could get way more down on yourself than what you need to do. So like, for instance, you were saying like during your pandemic time, the gyms were shut down, you had to do XYZ. That is the time where I was able to lose so much weight, because the pandemic hit. I was able to stay at home. So I was working from home, where mostly before I was out traveling at the store all day, working retail hours, where I didn't have the same type of time on my hands. But it's like, once everything closed down, I didn't have to take my daughter to school. I didn't have to go and have a commute. Like, I could get up early in the morning, or I could get up at whatever time, or in between me doing a virtual class or something like that, and do, like you said, one of those little like YouTube. Like, I started, like, the whole way I was doing it was just based off strictly YouTube videos, right?
And inconvenient.
And just like 30 minutes out the day, whatever, just doing that. But what I'm saying is that being able to do that is what made me more mindful when we got back into the groove, and I was not able to do that way anymore. What I'm saying is that when you have been, but that's why it's important for us to also instill these things in our kids from young. And so what I'm saying is that when we're not doing that, when we're not mindful of that, when we're not aware of that, you can't go 35 years of having certain types of behaviors and then just think, you turn 36 and all of a sudden you go this out and just be like, I got this other behavior down pat. Like, that's why I say we need to be more mindful of it and be more aware of the environment that actually leads to us having so much trouble. And that's why I say, like, the sugar addiction, like all of this stuff, like that's not a just a thing to say. Like, that's an actual real thing. Like, we understand nicotine addiction and we understand being addicted to drugs. We don't understand being addicted to sugar. And we just talking to people like, oh no, it's just mind over matter. Like, no, it's a literal physical addiction that people have to get off of. And
doctors will tell you that your body craves it. It wants it more. The more you have it, the more you want it. Yeah. But Raven, you wanted to ask something. What did you want to say?
I just want to touch on a few different things. The first thing, I like what you said, Cannon, about, I guess, thin privilege, we'll call it that. I know on my journey, I've had so many people, let them be like 140. See, what you need to do is just stop eating water. Stop drinking this. What you need to do, just walk after 6 p.m. Don't eat no bread. If you breathe too hard in the sunlight. And they eat hot Cheetos their whole life. Same thing, it's more or less genetic. So, we assume that because you can wear a certain size pants, all of a sudden you're the pinnacle on health. And a lot of times I've had conversations with people and I'm just like, so you're cutting out whole food groups for the rest of your life. This isn't leaving like you're getting substitutes anywhere else. At least with vegans, they're getting substitute protein somewhere else. People are, I'm not going to eat carbs for the rest of my life. I'm going keto. That's not sustainable. Then when you gain this 40 pounds back, you're going to be mad. And I'm just sitting up here looking at, and then
I got some pushback on that. It's sustainable if you commit it. Because I know people who have cut out meats and all types of things. They've been doing it for a very long time. So it's a level of commitment that you have and like the resource that you have. Now, some people,
but they're not cutting out an entire food group because they're still getting their protein, their carbs, their macros are still getting hit, whether they are eating actual meat or not. They're still hitting their macros. Right. My point is, people will say, I'm not going to eat any fats. Okay. And then when your body loses all your collagen, don't look at me like when your lips look like they're paper, don't say anything to me. Right. But we assume, like I said, you wear a certain pant size, all of a sudden I'm supposed to listen to you. No. And also I want to touch on the time limit. On the other end of the spectrum, being a bigger woman, I've talked to other big women, and they'll really get upset with you when I say, you're going to have to spend about 2-3 years in the gym to lose 200 pounds. What? I ain't nowhere in the world. You didn't get fat in no 1 year. You're not going to lose all this weight in no 1 year. And if you do, and you walk around looking like a paper bag, you'll be mad at the world. You got to take the time, build the muscle.
And then you got to stay in there afterwards. You have to stay in there afterwards.
Exactly. It's the instant gratification. And then the last thing I want to touch on, it's more or less kind of like the first thing. A lot of times people miss out on the eating disorder aspect of it. And, like Darwin said about the dopamine, a lot of times it's really just an eating disorder. And if we stop looking at it like, it's this number on the scale versus it's a pattern of behavior, because it's not always just fast food. For me, I like to cook. I feed my husband very well. Let me tell you, I cook vegetables all the time. They just happen to have a lot of butter and, saute onions and things like that. Because I'm going to eat my Brussels sprouts and my cabbage and my carrots. I'm going to eat those things. They may be roasted in some sesame oil and, a little bit of this and that. But I'm eating the
Ain't
vegetables.
nothing wrong with flavor.
Exactly. But
Okay,
in moderation, the same thing with my husband. We had to go from... we just eat a lot less and more vegetables and just more mindful of what we're doing now. But I said all that to say you never know where somebody is in their journey, and just automatically assuming that because somebody is a certain size and that they are, right about
that's the biggest
in general,
misconception.
it just drives me up a wall. It's just crazy.
That's the biggest misconception of obesity.
Yeah.
People, and I had it bad. I'd be out eating, I see a heavy set person eating, I'm like, she knows she ain't supposed to be eating that. She, and most people don't. It's not because they eat a lot or they eat the wrong foods that big. It's mostly genetics, and it's and they body structure. It's not because they're just a lazy fat slob, And that's the idea that most people get when they see a heavy set person. Now, some of them they do have bad tendencies. They are lazy, and just some of them, but that's a very small portion to the rest of the 10 biggest problems of why obesity exists. And being a fat slob is not number one, not in the top 10. It's genetics, it's misinformation.
When we talk about obesity, I'm always curious because when I join the conversation, depending on who I'm talking to, if it's a bigger group of women, oh, well, your stomach don't hang over your private, so you're not really fat. Okay, I still got back fat, so I don't know where this lie come from. So then I'm around another group of women. Oh, well, technically, even though I'm obese, I'm not really fat. But, at 160 at a certain height, technically you're obese.
Yeah, right.
So I'm always looking at the conversation in such an odd space because, like I said,
that's the problem. So many people are judging it based on an aesthetic look, which is why you have so many people who are getting like surgery and all of this stuff to get like fat removed and all these things, but they are not healthy at all. But as long as you look a certain way, then it's okay. And I'm saying that because I know that for a fact. Like I have people talk to me all the time. They're like, "You don't need to lose no more weight. What you talking about, girl? You this, you that, and that." And I'm looking and I'm like, no, I have an absorbent amount of fat around my stomach area. That is not the best place to have fat. You know what I mean? Even if you can't see it, I know that I have a lot of visceral fat there. And it may be more than someone who's bigger in other places than me. So that makes me healthy. So just because other people are perceiving it to be or be like, oh, you small, oh, you good, oh, you like none of that stuff means that it's actually accurate. That's what frustrates me so much about this conversation. Yeah. Like you said, people are just making these assumptions about people. And
I got a question.
I know firsthand because, like I say, I ain't never ate good, but I always been small. So
I got a question for Raven. Like, where are these people that's assuming that just because you're thin that people have to listen to you? Like, I'm gonna need some results.
Oh, I mean,
saying, like,
people, the fitness,
I think that's just
influencer industry as it is.
I think that's people in general. They tend to look at someone, and this is just talking about like the outside package. You judge the outside package before you look at the person. But I think it's a responsibility of anybody who is trying to help somebody in their fitness journey. You need to do an intake. Like, don't just assume that, like, you or Darwin is starting at the same place. Like, you got to ask somebody, like, what's your family looking like? Like, what's your lifestyle? Like, do you have time to work out? Like, what do you eat? Where do you think you struggle at? You got to ask questions. Like, don't just assume that somebody, A, knows how to work out, or B, that they in a bad spot. You know what I'm saying? And if a person's skinny and girl, they at the gym eating pizza at the Planet Fitness, eating hot Cheetos, you buy. No. We're not listening to them anyway. I heard you say that, like, and that's disrespectful to like assume that just because somebody's overweight. I mean, you could have lost 100 pounds before you walked in the door, and then nobody give you your due credit. So I don't look at it like that. Yeah, you gotta ask some questions for me.
One thing that I'm hearing, one thing that that stuck out to me when I was listening to you guys talk was the support aspect. I know for me personally, I was trying to work out at home for a point of time, and I was doing okay for a little while, but then I started to really slack and revert back to my old patterns, right? And then I realized that I was trying to do it by myself. And I was trying to do it by myself because I didn't want to go into the gym. Like, I was like, I can't handle that. You know, you go in the class and people can do this and, you know, they just at it and the whole time. And I'm like 15 minutes in, like, when is it over?
Okay.
And so it you know, I guess it was a little bit of embarrassment that came with going into the gym and not being in your best shape. But I realized that working out at home was not working for me. So I just renewed my gym membership a couple weeks ago. And it helps me personally to work out with somebody else. And I like that Darwin was talking about choosing the right gym. I have a friend who lost so much weight and she got in like the best shape of her life because she joined this gym. And I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Body and Soul in Hyde Park. I know it's in Hyde Park somewhere. But she talked to me about how there's such a community and they really hold each other accountable for their weight loss and their fitness goals. So I can imagine that makes a big difference. Rashad,
I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot
Mhm.
asking you in Chicago. I
Oh,
got
yeah,
some
I'm in
gyms for you to go to.
what?
No, I
What?
got some gyms that I used to go to when I was in Chicago.
Oh,
Getting
you
ready
got a
for
few?
You gonna have
Okay.
your cage
yeah.
fighting
Okay.
match.
I forgot. Yeah.
Recommendation.
Oh, I
They
thought
go.
you had just one. Okay, that's
Oh
what I was
no.
asking. But
Yeah,
I'll
you
talk
can.
to Shannon
Yeah,
so you can share them.
I
Okay,
got you.
that's cool. I need that. Rashad, what about you? Do you want to weigh in on this topic?
Sure, yeah, like it's almost ditto to everything you guys said. Yeah, darn, what about that support? Like, yeah, me, like, yeah, like hearing all you guys talk about your journey and stuff, it's just motivation for me. I'm on again, off again with my journey, and the times I've done it the most was when I was with people who were working out. Like I work for the Department of Defense, so I work with a lot of people who are or were in the military. And when I really first started, like getting at like working out like 2-3 days a week, I was going with some coworkers. One of them, this huge jack dude, like biceps the size of my head, and stuff like that.
Like,
He's
why
like,
are
hey,
your
man,
arms so big?
yeah, he's like, hey man, come on down to the gym with me. We had a gym there in the office, so it's like I'm like, okay, cool. But like you were saying, Ashley, like just intimidated, especially working out with people who work out a lot and huge and stuff.
Yeah.
But Darwin, like you said, like if you go with people who will motivate you, like he motivated me so much, and like yeah, that support system is so important, and
Yeah.
that's when I was most consistent when I was working out with my coworkers, my friends, and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm on again and off again now, so I'm trying to find a gym now. Well, I have a gym, so I'm going to start trying to get back in the regular routine. But
Yeah.
also, I'm not sure if Ken is still on, but she did touch on some things that reminded me just other stories, like just really how obesity, overweightness in America is just a huge problem. And like she said, it's like it's a lifestyle thing. Like I remember another coworker of mine, like I said, her husband was in the military, so they were stationed in Italy. She said when she went to Italy, she went over there. She said she lost 30 pounds in like 4 months, and she said she didn't do anything different. It's just the lifestyle change over there, like the way they eat, the types of food they have. Like they said, for example, like kind of just how in America it's always just that go thing. So of course, like fast food, quick stuff, it's just convenient. But she said there's like the way they eat, at least in Italy. But I know it's like that in a lot of countries overseas. It's like the portions aren't as big, and like you just take your time with food, like meals and dinners and stuff, and time with family. Like you take your time. So they give meals out like it's almost like an event. So dinner would be like you would eat 3 courses, but it'd be just smaller things with 3 courses. And they said they go to there wasn't many grocery stores. You go to the market every day and pick up food. You usually get food which you would eat that day and get there, and everything was organic. Like it was hard to find processed foods there. Like here, that's something Amp Life that you talked about, like just the food education and stuff like that, which is something that I've really lacked on the last pretty much my whole life. Just like it's crazy. Like it wasn't until a few years ago, like really learning about organic foods and like a strawberry, for example. Like it's like hard to find organic strawberries. Like if you go to a regular grocery store,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah.
Like I'll go to the store and like if you see organic strawberries versus non-organic strawberries, like strawberries be like this big, the non-organic one. If you're not paying attention, like you see the big strawberries and they're cheaper. So I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the big ones for cheaper. That makes more sense. But then when you start learning about, you know, what's in those strawberries and other fruits to make them so big and the non-organic stuff, and it's like, oh, like dang, I was eating all that stuff thinking I was getting a deal, getting the big fruit for cheaper and stuff like that. But it's little stuff like that that you know, we all got to pay attention to. And of course, like it all ends in self-accountability at the end of the day. But, you know, like you said, Ken, the lifestyle and just kind of the way it's set up in the country, you know, I think it's something that needs to be addressed because it is a huge issue.
No, even when we talk about how this is why I was saying it's so important for us to be aware of it, because these are things that I didn't learn about later in life. And that shouldn't even be the case. Like even the way our food is labeled is misleading.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the serving size is like unrealistic. Like they'll put like they'll put like 20 calories for some potato chips, but they'll put like a serving size like a fourth of a quarter bag of chips. Like nobody's eating a fourth of a bag of chips. Like why are you putting that back? So I mean, what I'm saying is like they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like it's intentional. The high sugar and all that stuff is in our food on purpose to get us addicted to it, to keep us buying it, to keep us eating it and doing all of that stuff. So it's not. So you can't ignore that and act like that's not something that's working against you intentionally, because it literally is.
It's
like
that capitalism stuff.
To try to, like even the stuff that they will market to you as being healthier, and you know, like what would it say? Like no, what's the thing everybody on right now? Like they don't want no what they don't want in their food.
GMO?
Yeah, no GMOs, all this stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
Vegan.
Yeah, like gluten free, like all this stuff.
Like
it's that stuff. What I'm saying is the way that stuff is also marketed is in a way that it'll have you thinking things are healthier for you and okay for you to eat that actually are not. And it's important that, and we have to do, what I'm saying is it's not fair that we have to do so much freaking work just to figure out
just
what
to eat,
is good for us to eat. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Definitely easier to eat bad than eat good. But you know, again, it's not an excuse. But yeah, you're right. That is a condition. So yeah.
So I do want to close this out. I wanted to say, you know, to your point though, Cannon, that you know the FDA monitors the ingredient labels, but it's so funny that you know they have to have certain ingredients on labels on products, right? But the marketing labels are not regulated the same way. So you can say non-fat on the packaging or diet or low sodium, whatever. You can market it as something that the ingredients don't even support.
Reflect.
Yeah. And so that's just something to keep in mind. My friend is actually watching the show, and she said that the gym that I was referring to, I'm giving them free publicity, but it's for the good. It's called 360 Mind, Body, and Soul, and she loves this gym. And it's in Hyde Park, Illinois. 360 Mind, Body, and Soul. I want Angela to talk. I'm sorry, say it again.
You better have them write you a check.
I know, right? Yeah, let them know where you got them from. But anyway, I want Angela to talk about her program, and then I'm gonna close out and go to the next topic. All right. And if anyone wants to chime in really quickly on this topic, you can. I just ask that you keep it to a 2-minute limit. And when I say anyone else, I mean any of the viewers who wants to call in. The number is on the screen. You can always call in to chime in. Angela, tell us about your program.
So my program is called the AMP Life Transformation Program, and I'm gearing it towards busy women, professional women, people that are amateurs on their fitness journey, people who are intermediate, advanced. It's geared towards ladies. It is an 8-week challenge. It starts January 10th for all those who wanted to know the start date. And if you sign up for the program before the 25th, you can get a deal. It'll be 2 weeks free, but you get scheduled workouts I have in there for the ladies, and you get an elite community. We were talking about support a lot on this show, and I love that because you got a solid foundation with this program. It's set up for you to win. You have accountability. I'm there to stay on top of you. You have each other, obviously in the group to kind of amp each other up. There's mindset coaching. I'm really huge about that because when you start a journey, you got to make sure that you have your mind in the game and you got to stay in the game. That's just how it works.
Okay.
So
what are some of?
You can
Oh,
reach
I'm sorry.
me
Go ahead.
for that. Oh no, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want you to finish. I got a question about your program.
Oh yes, go ahead, and then I'll say what I was gonna say.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what are some ways that people stay connected as they're doing this workout plan?
So like I mentioned, the huge support will lie in the weekly coaching calls. People can access me throughout the program. You can give me a ring, and I go through mindset coaching. We reevaluate where you're at, because I don't believe in just starting out a journey and just saying, whoop, that's it. Like, you got to have certain checkpoints and make sure that you stay in the game and hold yourself accountable. And like I said, I'm there to do that. Also, there's support in the group. You have weekly check-ins. I do expect progress photos from the ladies, and they're due weekly.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. It's called the AMP Life. And can you reiterate or re-explain how they can contact you?
Yeah, so you can definitely find me under my name, Angela Price, on Facebook. You can also search for my group, AMP Life Zone. And you can also, like I said, DM me, reach out that way, and we'll get you started.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So this is Angela Price.
Yes.
And you all can find her on Facebook if you're interested in this program. All right. And your group is called the AMP Life, correct?
Yes. The Facebook group where you can find me is AMP Life Zone.
Okay. Oh, AMP Life Zone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Angela. I really appreciate it. Did you all have any questions for Angela before we
No, just want to say congratulations and hope everything go well with your journey with your group and your fitness program. That's a wonderful thing you're doing. Get a lot of women motivated, get them inspired because they be needing something to do. They need somebody like you.
Thank you so much. Yes, we do. You're my motivation. Okay.
Thank you so much for the congratulations. It's been a pleasure. You guys are really dope. I enjoyed the conversation. It was a good vibe. Thank you for having me.
All right, girl. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Angela. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic. Before we do that, I do want to just kind of recap because I think we talked about a lot, and I hope that people can listen to this segment and really take away some great things. We did talk about some of the challenges, right? Like, we have genetic challenges. We have socioeconomic challenges. Some people are trying to feed lots of people. Some people just have maybe themselves to feed, maybe, them and their spouse to feed. And sometimes the cheaper route is just, it seems like the better route. Immediately. We have food deserts right here in the city of Chicago, and I'm pretty sure you all have them in Atlanta. If you walk, even like where I work, it's just so frustrating. I have to take my lunch because, there is one healthier option, but everything else is KFC, Taco Bell, McDonald's, White Castle, Popeyes. Right there in the same vicinity. Okay. You have to travel so far to get to something that is healthier. And unfortunately, in some of the healthier, convenient type of restaurants, they're very expensive. So, there are just different challenges, right? But I think we have to focus on what we can change right now. And I think that's our planning, planning of our schedule, budgeting, finding those food sources that, like Raven said, are, or maybe it was Angela who talked about food sources that are a little bit more affordable but healthier. We have to also watch our portion size, get with the gym, get with, you know, a partner. Like, I know I needed that, and it seems to be helping so far. Y'all got to hold me accountable, okay? So this on camera now. So in a month, I need to have lost some weight and met some of my fitness goals, right? So there are all these things that we can do. There are some things that are kind of just out of our immediate control, but there are some things that we can do to start living a healthier life. I think in the long run, Americans need to be very disciplined and work together to stop these corporations from and the government from allowing what they are putting out, you know, in our communities. We got to stop buying this stuff. Like, we keep buying it. And so if we keep buying it,
it's by design. It's
Yeah.
by design, though. What I'm saying is people put a lot of money into research to figuring out how to get to like, it's not. That's why I feel like it's so important for us to pay attention to it, because it's by design. So when you have something that is designed, right, it's designed to make you do a certain thing, you could sit here until you blue in the face and be like,
and you just said it's kind of
but we have to be aware. But that's what I'm saying. We can change it, but it's going to take a vast.
Yeah, we got to be conscious about it, because if it's on autopilot, we're gonna fall for it.
Yeah,
because I can't remember that documentary. There's some documentaries about fooding.
Super Size Me and fooding.
But they talk about like how they make fast foods, like McDonald's, for example. They literally do studies to make it addictive for kids, and that's what gets kids hooked on that stuff. And,
addicted.
Goes from there.
But they were also talking about how even as young as, that's why I brought up kindergarten, the little milks they give you, twice a day, they have 20-30 grams of sugar, and this is what school is giving.
Wow. So the supposed healthy schools have like processed apples, and
it's crazy.
So
it's all about the money.
Do this healthy living, but you high on sugar at 5 years old. So I don't know.
The world gonna keep a certain amount of poor people so they can stay rich. So that we ain't no way around that.
Yeah. Being an American with this shit.
All right. And so, I hope that you guys have found some things that that can help you in your journey, and share with us. Okay. Share with us on our Facebook group. On Facebook, we are called the Ladies Room Podcast Group Chat. Okay. The Ladies Room Podcast Group Chat. Join our group and let us know. Let us know what you think about this show, and let us know any progress, any updates in your own fitness journey. All right. So welcome to the Ladies Room, everybody who's just tuning in. We are moving on to our next topic. And for those of you who don't know, we talk about it all. We talk about dating, marriage, love, sex. We talk about family, parenting, societal issues. We talk about many different things. And our next topic is, does submission have a role in 50-50 relationships?
Hell no.
Here go this submission word again.
Hell yeah.
How do we submit? How do I submit to you 50% of the time? I don't make it make sense. What is this? On Tuesdays? Okay. What's happening?
Who wants to go first?
I'll kick it off. So,
go ahead.
I think I'm in a 50-50 relationship. So I think I got the right answer for this. I think submission has a role on both parts. I think both parties have to submit in order for it to be 50-50, right? I submit to her about the things that she's more knowledgeable about, and she submits to me about the things that I'm more knowledgeable about. And that's the only way it's going to work, because I respect her enough, I trust her enough to submit to her about the things that she's more knowledgeable about. It's just logic, common sense. If she knows more about something, I'm going to submit to her. If I know more about something, she's going to submit to me. And that's the only way that's going to work. Now, both parties have to put their ego to the side And just because I'm a man, no, I don't think I have the final say about everything. I have the final say about things that I know about and that she knows and that she trusts me about. It's never been a time where we had a big decision to make and we had a fallout or argument about who's going to decide on what. We just both came to a mutual agreement about the things because, I mean, it's just, I guess for one, you have to know your partner and you have to trust your partner. And the fact that I know her and she knows me, she knows my weaknesses, she knows my strengths, I know hers. And you have to be very vulnerable about these things, right? In order to get to know each other, to be able to come to a point in your relationship where you can submit to someone. So, but I do think it has a big role in a 50-50 relationship. And I think that's the only way it can be a 50-50 relationship because both parties would have to submit.
Okay. So would that change for you if let's say the man was, because usually we talk about women submitting to men, right? So if the man is providing 100%, do you think that submission looks different? Does the man not submit at all anymore?
So
does the woman have to now submit, I guess in everything? Like what does that look like? Because you said something a little different.
Well, so 50-50 relationship is 50-50 relationship. So the money aspect of it really doesn't mean anything, right? Because I know the woman that I'm with, without even making $1, she's still bringing another 50 to the table. So she's going to provide in our household more ways than just finances, right? She's going to probably cook, clean, be supportive of me, and all these other things that she can that's valued. And I think a lot of people don't value a lot of the other things that beside after money, right? So I think a lot of people think money is just like the power. And if you got the money, then you have the power. And if you're in a relationship, you know that's not the case at all. You know, you can just tell by all these famous rich people, and they've been getting divorced after divorce, infidelity. So what does this money actually mean? Nothing. It's just a way for you to try to control somebody. But a person, you can only control somebody for so long. Everybody's going to get fed up with that. It's just like an animal. You step on their neck. As soon as you take that foot off their neck, they go get you. So you can try to buy somebody's love and affection. You can try to buy your way, by your controlling ways, but it's just not going to work. And you just have to be a real man or real woman to acknowledge that and to accept a person and for what they have to offer. And I know my wife has, if she didn't make a dime, I know she's bringing to the table more value than just money. So it's not about the money when it comes to me. Now I know other men, they think that, and that's a whole nother conversation with the that misogynistic way of thinking, and that's probably the only way they know how to bring something to the table is with money. You know, that emotional aspect of the relationship, that mental aspect of the relationship really doesn't mean anything to them because they weren't brought up that way. So of course they go think, okay, I brought the money to the table. That's my 100%. Now I don't even think they think it's 50%. They think it's 100%. You know, and that's why they think they control some. But the money is not, because the woman can go out and work. Women now are making more money than men. They're on the rise. They're coming up. So, and I think that's a big problem with the way the feud between men and women now. Men are not handling that the women are not depending on them for money these days, and that we have to bring more than just money to the table. It's just not, I'm paying the bills, now do what I say, or I'm paying the bills so I get to call all the shots. It's none of that, because women are bringing money to the table too.
Yeah. Rashad, you wanted to add something. What are your thoughts?
So again, submission can be looked at in several different ways. I personally don't like the word submission because it can be, taken in different kind of ways. But I guess it goes back to something we've talked about before. And I know something, commonly talked about in, relationship circles. It's like the leader, and then I guess the person who supports the leader. I don't know another term for it. The way I like to look at it, like I said, it's like president or vice president, something like that. Both equal respect, but I guess like in my experiences, and I guess what I see the most is like when it comes to the word submit or president, vice president, supporter, leader, whatever, it all comes down like, okay, if there's a decision that needs to be made and both the man and woman are on opposing ideas of this decision, who makes the final decision and why? So I think in any situation, any setting or whatever, like if it's work, you don't have like there's a supervisor, then subordinates and stuff like that. And that's how things are set up. You can't really have quote unquote two leaders, because at the end of the day, if there's headbutting, you have to pick left or right. And you have to go with whoever that is. To me, it does not matter if it's the man or woman at all. That like gender has nothing to do with it. I will say in my experience, and again, what I see, I think it usually is men, because a lot of women say that's what they want. They want the man to lead. And also, again, men, I would say leading in an emotional or nurturing or whatever aspect might not be as efficient as leading in a more, I guess, logical aspect. And like, again, men tend to be more logical, women tend to be more emotional. So that being said, I would say like, yeah, whoever is the more logical person in the relationship should be the one leading versus leading with, feeling, emotion, and things like that. Even though both are important and both are necessary to make a relationship work, to make any, partnership work of any sort. But yeah, there needs to be someone who makes the final decision and someone to support it. Now, like, again, in my experience in relationship, I'm engaged, like stuff like that headbutting, that like, I want to go left, you want to go right. That doesn't happen often, but it does happen in most relationships. And when that happens, like, I think there needs to be kind of like an understood person, like, okay, we're going to go off of what this person says, because like, we're following his or her blueprint. So that's been my experience. And I think that from what I see works for most people, or would work for most people.
See, I feel like it's always different strokes for different folks. I was serious when I said no, but also, Darwin and Cannon, their relationship is beautiful. Y'all do your thing, however y'all want to do it. But for me, it's a little, I don't know. The whole submissive thing and 50-50, it just seems like an oxymoron to me to go together, because 50-50 sounds like we have an understanding already. We're just communicating. But submission, it's a whole different act of vulnerability. It's a whole different, it's a whole different behavior set. For my husband, I submit to him. I put his uniform out for work. Put my uniform out for work. And I'm not looking for him to put my uniform out for work. But it's just different things that I submit to him by doing that I don't look for in return, per se. But, he still does plenty of other things that, I don't know.
But Raven, is that submission though, or serving? That's
right. But that's what I'm saying. Submission will be, helping out with his plan. His plan is to be a master tech. My job, I guess, or helpmate role, make sure the, least stressful path to fulfilling that role. The things I want to do in my life as far as being a nanny and whatnot.
Sorry. Go ahead. What was that last part you said?
No, I was going to say, as far as being a nanny and everything else, those that doesn't necessarily rank supreme. He may help out sometimes, but it isn't like master teching is at the forefront. Getting the goal toward master teching is at the forefront. Nannying is, I'm still able to do those things, but it's not the goal for the family unit, is what I'm saying. And so that's why when people say 50-50 and submission, if you guys are going to do your relationship in a different manner, then I can't tell you to submit. I don't even know what that means, what that looks like in that situation. But for ours, if you're going to help your man or the head of your household achieve a goal, you got to submit to whatever that goal is. And hopefully you pick well. And hopefully the goal is not smoke crack, so. But I don't know. It just always sounds strange to hear 50-50 and submit. It's just, I don't understand it. It's just.
Okay. All right. I have some thoughts about this whole topic as well, but I want to hear from Cannon.
Well, we've had this, submission conversation.
Slow it down, Cannon. Don't hurt her now. 'Cause I know she's very.
but but the thing is that can anybody tell me, like, this idea or concept, which I still haven't been able to nail down exactly the definition of what this means for people, because everybody kind of has their own definition of what that means. Is this more so a religious concept? Did this, when people speak of it, I always hit in reference back to the Bible. Like, that's why I hit everybody get it from. So to me, it sounds like it's a religious concept. Am I right or wrong, or is it like a Christian kind of?
I think it's based. I think it's based in religion and spirituality. However, what I noticed is that a lot of men believe that just because they're men, that the woman should submit to them.
Of course.
However, me personally, I think it's rooted of faith.
Was it like this predating the Bible though?
I don't know. What I'm saying is, every time I hear someone discuss it now, and I always ask people like to explain it to me, they always go back to the Bible, and they always quote a specific
Genesis
Bible where it says wives submit to you, but it also says husbands submit to your wives. So I don't know how that part gets left. I don't understand how that part always gets left out of the conversation. But to me, that just goes right. That just goes on to continue to prove the point that I was making. Is that, of course, when people want to have absolute power, absolute control, or, whenever you have certain privileges, you want to maintain them. And then you're going to use things to try to validate why you should have those privileges. And to me, that is one of those things. Like, me and my husband was talking to an older male family member of ours the other day, and some of the things that he was saying. And I told him, I said, this is very indicative of what we've been talking about how when we're talking about quote unquote modern relationship, I'll just use this terminology because it's what people saying, but modern relationships and all of this other stuff. I said, this is a perfect illustration of why I feel like in general, there's such a hard time being had on maintaining these relationships. And I still go back to feeling like, because women have done a lot more changing over the past 50, 60, 70 years than men have been required to do. And so what happens is you still have a lot of men in their minds that want to do what their fathers did, want to do what they were told, want to do what they feel like is a man, right? Like, they just have this idea that they are committed to in their ego, that I'm a man, so this is what that looks like.
Where does that come from, though?
I think it comes from society, obviously. And so what I'm saying is that, like, I'll give you a perfect example. The conversation that we were having, he was talking about one of his marriages, and he was talking about how in his marriage, his wife actually was more financially astute and more financially stable than he was. Not that he wasn't working, contributing or anything, but she just came from a family that had money. She had a lot of money and resources and different things like that. But then he would say certain things that would let you know that in that relationship, that was probably an issue, because there were certain times where he felt like he just needed to, for lack of a better words, let his nuts hang. You know what I mean? To be like, I'm the man, so I said, and you need to listen to me. And it's like, let's think about reality. Because like, one of the things that he said was, he was like, because I had to break up with her because she would say things to me like
she was too bossy.
Right. Like, she was too bossy. Like, she was telling me, well, obviously, if you was better with your finances, then your situation would be different than what it is. And I was like, but that's the truth. Like, but you're like mad because that's reality. And the fact that have to tell you that is kind of crazy. Like,
because in that moment, he was supposed to submit to her. It's because he was the man, he had this ego, he felt like he shouldn't have to. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like people hear the word submit and think it's just a bad word. Like, I'm about to let this person control me, or I have to do what this person says. No, it's not that. It's just the understanding of what's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. And whoever needs to make that decision at that moment needs to make that decision. And if you can't handle that person making that decision, then you need to do something about it. Maybe you need to go get more knowledge about that. You need to get whatever the case may be, and then you can make the decisions. But it's all about trust, and it doesn't come from an act of faith. Like I'm not about to be in a relationship and just because I'm the man, I expect my wife to hope I can make the right decision. No, we know each other well enough to know that. Nah, he's not that good with this. And I know myself. You have to have a self-awareness too. I know myself enough to know that. And if I'm living my life in the best interest of myself, I'm going to let the person that knows this avenue better make that decision for me. Because I'm looking out for myself for one, and then for my family too. So it's all coincide with each other, right? For me to submit to my wife for this moment, and vice versa.
So Darwin, Cannon, what you guys are talking about, like, so you're saying he wanted to manage the finances. Would you say that's more of a gender role, I guess, misnomer versus like a submission misnomer?
Yeah, it is, but submission is steeped in gender roles. The way that it's discussed and the way that it a lot of times is promoted and expected, it is steeped in gender roles. So like I said, even though the scripture, I'm not the most religious person, but every single time they quote the scripture to me, it say wives submit to your husband, but it also say husbands submit to your wives. But that part always gets left out for some reason. But it always goes back to the woman needs to submit to the man who's the head of the house, and he got to have a final say for everything, which, like I say, in 2021, it's just like, what are we really discussing though? Like, what are we really talking about in practice? Are we talking about egos that just can't handle reality, and we have to coddle, and we have to, oh, he's the man, so even though I know he's not good at that, to protect his ego, I have to handle it this way? Like, that's silly.
So let's talk on like stereotypical gender roles. So we use like finances goes to the man. Let's talk about like a stereotypical gender role for women is cooking. If the woman is mostly cooking, isn't that the man, or like deciding what's for dinner or something? Is that the man, I guess, technically submitting to the woman to do that role?
No, you say if the woman is cooking dinner and a woman have to decide, that's the man submit to her to decide. No, that's him getting somebody to cook for his ass.
Well, isn't it the woman having the man do the finances for the family? Isn't it the same concept?
No, first of all, let me explain something to you. When it comes to Black people, especially, Black women have always worked and made money for the household. Always, right? I've always brought money into the household. But because, like I say, we have these egos and we have these things that say, in order for me to be a man, this is how it has to look. Otherwise, my manhood is now in being attacked. Right.
So we're not talking about working. We're talking about managing the finances. So technically, when we're talking about the roles, managing the finances, it doesn't really necessarily matter where or who the money's coming from. We're just talking about managing the finances, what we do with our money, whatever, no matter who's bringing it in, planning that.
But a lot of times women manage finances in the household.
And that's fine. I'm just saying, I'm just going with stereotypical gender roles.
No, stereotypically, there's a lot of women who actually manage the household funds. The men
make it.
It right. Make the money. Stereotypically, the men are the ones who were considered to be the breadwinners and bring the money into the house, but the women were the ones handling the finances. Stereotypically.
Yeah, and
that's why you see a lot of men.
A lot traditionally. A lot of times, men, for one reason or the other, they might be working and bringing home the money, but because they have to work, or because maybe the wife is better at accounting the money, or has the time to do it, they would do it.
Yeah, because I personally actually taking care of a household is a whole nother job. And
y'all saw BMF when he was like, "Yeah, I thought you was paying the mortgage. What happened to the money I was getting for the mortgage?" And she was like, "It wasn't enough." You know what I'm saying? So he was bringing the money home, giving it to her, but he wasn't even being mindful that the money he was bringing home wasn't even enough to support the home.
So your family member who wanted to manage the finances, per what you guys are saying, that's not really necessarily rooted from a stereotypical gender role. Did he just like want to reign supreme over his whole household?
No, what I'm saying is that a lot of that stuff is steeped in gender roles and gender identity, and what and what people tell themselves makes them a man or a woman. And so what I'm saying is what I feel like we're seeing a lot, especially now because times have changed so drastically within a short period of time, is that you do have a lot of men specifically who are having a difficult time grappling with what it means to be a man in 2021, right? So if they can't say, I'm a man because I got the final say in my house. I'm a man because I get the big piece of chicken. I'm a man because whatever it is that they feel like made a man before, that's an ego thing, is what I'm saying that you're seeing. So with the family member that I was talking about, the fact of the matter and the reality is that his wife was better in that area. He was doing better. He was providing for them in a way that he could not. And instead of, but what I'm saying is for his mind to accept that, it would have had to tell him that he was less of a man. And what I'm saying is that needs to go away, because that does not make somebody less of a man. Like, that's just reality. Like, she came from a family that had more money, so she had more access to things. She had more time to build up whatever she built up. She had more.
But the kicker is this. The kicker is this. Once they got divorced, his car got repoed, lost his job, he went into debt. So what's that's telling you? That if he was that he obviously wasn't the so-called man that he thought he was when it came to, because this was what he thought. Now, I don't think that what he thought was if he was handling the business that she wanted to handle, that they would have been in a better place because he's the man. But since she was not submissive and letting him handle things that she knew he couldn't handle, he felt like, oh, I gotta let her go. And it goes to show you that she was right, because once he let her go, she didn't lose her house, she didn't lose her car. He lost his house, he lost his car, he was in debt, he lost his job because he couldn't get to work because he lost his car. So, it's like sometimes you have to submit. And it's not because you're less of a man, it's just because it's the right thing to do.
Was his wife cool with his lack of financial acumen?
She was fine.
They had the same job. They worked at the same place.
Yeah, she just came from a family that had more resources, is what I'm saying. And in that made him, I guess, feel like I say intimidated or whatever, and be like, I gotta be the man, and it's just like that's the attitude.
And the kicker is, he said that every situation, she made him look good in every situation when it came to open discussions.
Yeah,
he made sure that everybody knew that he was the man, but behind closed doors, she was checking him like, no, I'm doing this, and he couldn't even accept that part of it. So
he tripping it.
Just to be, this is my father.
But that's what's happening a lot.
I think that people have, this is an interesting conversation, but I think that people have this conversation not really understanding submission. I think on both sides, men and women, do not understand submission. Now, if you are not an advocate of submission, then you ain't really got to understand it. But if you're going to talk about it, I think it's important to understand it. I don't think that submission is correlated with money. I don't think because a man makes more money that he deserves submission, and a man who doesn't make the money doesn't deserve submission. I personally believe that a wife should submit to her husband. Now, that's my personal belief. But listen, I also believe that. I think that it's not well understood. And people think I think men think, okay, well, if I'm doing the finances, then somehow that's submission. When that has nothing to do with submission.
So what does it mean to you?
It's not correlated. So I'm going to tell you. So I think that even if a woman is making more money than a man, she has a duty to submit to her husband.
Does he have a duty to submit as well?
And I believe that he has a duty to submit to his wife. And there are different contexts in which that happens. I believe that the man is the head of the household, though.
Yeah, that's what I said.
At the end of the day, a woman, let's say there's an argument, right? Or some conflict. I think, this is my personal belief, and every woman does not have to agree with this. I think the woman has a duty under the God's word to say, I'm going to step back. I have voiced my concerns, and I'm going to pray about this situation and follow my husband's lead.
I'll tell you what I have a duty to.
Let me finish. So I think men have to also understand their role in submission. is not just, oh, I'm the boss, I'm the boss. You also have to know how to make good choices. You also have to know, like Darwin was saying, when I need to step back because my wife does this better.
Yeah.
That
then it still ends up being the same difference.
But you just said
the
that to
difference
me is a
is
leader. And I think also
lead.
women have to know how to pick a man that they can submit to.
you
Like
preach.
how to pick a man that's wise, smart, sound, knowledgeable, and then you can follow him.
But he's not going to be wise, smart, sound, and knowledgeable in every area, and neither are you.
It's not supposed to
Exactly.
be
So
every
that's
area.
what I'm
It's not
saying.
supposed to be
A
everything.
smart, wise man
Exactly.
a smart, wise man would know, okay, I'm gonna listen to my wife. Like,
no, so
I'm
one
gonna-
thing is this is so just be like, let's just say you with your husband, and from what you said if it's an argument or disagreement, you're going to step back and let him make the decision, right? Even just trusting him that he's going to make the decision.
And that's why I am particular about who I date and who I'm
Yes.
gonna want to marry.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
But I
just
guess
be
that's
asking,
what I'm
like,
trying to
oh, I
say
need a ring. I need a ring.
But look,
Huh?
y'all. What
But I guess
Ashley is
that's
saying
what
is
I'm
what
saying
most
is
women
kind
say.
of unrealistic. Like that's unrealistic. Everybody is not gonna always. I don't care what kind of freaking leader everybody don't got no freaking Barack
But
Obama.
that's what you're not
gonna
getting.
happen.
What I'm saying, Cannon, is that's why you choose a man who understands that he does not know everything.
Okay.
Don't
But
choose a
in
man.
that moment,
hold
he
on,
may
hold
not
on.
understand that. He may not be able to see the forest for the trees because we're human beings. Is what
Guys.
I'm saying.
And that's
In
not
that
the man you
he may not be aware of that. Because
What you guys are feeling, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. What Ashley is saying is what most women say they want. Do you agree with that? Regardless if that's what they get, that's what most women say they want.
Most
yes
women
or no?
say they want what?
Yeah, but I think that's
man to lead.
unrealistic. That's another reason why I think people having such a hard time.
Wait,
I think people are
can
having
you answer
a
the
hard
question though?
time figuring out
Do
this life
most women say they want the man to lead? Yes or no?
That's why I feel like people are having a hard time with this life thing. Because
Is that a yes?
Because even a lot of black women who grew up in the church. No, a lot of black women who grew up in the church. Most of them that I speak to, especially the ones that grew up in the church, I do hear them say that, right? So yes, I will agree with you. But what I'm saying is, I also think that is part of the problem, right? Because even like for the conversation, I'm saying that's why I have to pick this man that can do it. It's like, oh my God.
Picking a man that can do everything. It's not about picking a man that can do everything. It's about picking a man that's wise and smart and humble enough to know he can't do everything.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So it's not about, oh, he got to know how to do this. And this is another thing. This is like submission is not about what y'all were talking about. Service.
I think every man.
So how many men do you think, when we go off just the men per se in general, especially in the black community, how many men would you say that you feel fall in that category, that you would be at that is
very few, very few,
right? So I guess what I'm saying is, in 2021, if you say you want a family, if you say you want a relationship, if you say you want these things, and you say that that's very few. That's what I'm saying about. I feel like we're not seeing the writing on the wall, and we're not adjusting. I guess what I'm saying.
Are you saying more women should be leading?
No, what I'm saying is that we need to get these boxes and these strict lanes out of our head on what we think this has to be, and be more what's the word I'm looking for?
Realistic?
Not even just realistic, but
in
more
tune with yourself.
More adaptable. Be more adaptable.
But why? But why should somebody adapt to the way of the world and society?
Right. If it's been like this throughout the history.
That's what we always do. We always adapt to the world.
If it's not useful,
that's humanity.
But
that's what we do.
Here's what I think. I get what you're saying. Okay, adapt, right? But unless it's hurting somebody, why adapt? Like people do.
Well, it sounds like it is hurting because people be complaining all goddamn day about how they can't get these relationships.
But then you're asking people to be something
no. I'm asking them, right, to decide what is most important to you, what you want, and then
Go
pay
get it.
attention to how to get it in this day and age is what I'm saying, and what that looks like. Instead of having this fixed idea of that, oh, it has to look like this and it has to be this way or it's not right. That's all that I'm saying. What I'm saying is I feel like people, this is why I said technology and stuff like that, I feel like has done a number on us in a couple of generations, because times have changed drastically. I agree. I'm not saying I got all the right answers or whatever like that. But what I am saying is that I know if you want certain things, that there are certain ways that you're going to have to be. That's not how our grandmothers were. That's not how
Okay, well, listen.
That's all.
I get, okay, you're saying adapt. You're saying most people are not that way, so adapt. But let's think about it practically. So let's say a woman like myself, a single woman who's a Christian woman who wants to submit, right? You're saying because I think most men don't know about submission or don't really understand submission, that I'm supposed to just be like, oh, I ain't gonna be no submissive wife.
No, I'm not saying that.
Everybody else does.
I'm not saying that. You were saying that that's why you feel like you have to have a husband that can check XYZ, right? Which is fine. I'm not right. But what I'm saying is, what if you come across someone that you could be happy with that does not check those certain boxes? You may be stronger in that way for whatever reason. Maybe it was the way you was raised. Maybe it was whatever. But you may be stronger in that way. But you're totally going to discount this person and knock this person out that you could have been happy with because you're stronger in areas that you feel like they're out there supposed to be just because they have a penis, is what I'm saying. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying throw your submission out there. I'm not saying none of that. Only thing that I'm saying is that when we have this idea that, well, I have to get, like, no, like the man you may be happy with, or that may be a good person that can be adaptable or whatever. Maybe he was the youngest. Maybe he was the youngest child. Maybe you was the oldest. Maybe you had more responsibility.
Well, listen, but you're getting into not just like checking boxes type of, oh, he can fit the car. Like,
no,
oh,
I'm talking about, like you said, about making like business decisions. Maybe he's not that great at that. And you,
okay, it's not that you're not good at business. But what you say, Rashad?
I said, then that's not the man for her. Like,
yeah,
it
that's
doesn't
what
have
I'm
to do
saying.
with having a penis. That's what she wants, and that's what a lot of women want.
Yeah, I think you're equating like
well, maybe that's why so many people are single these days. And
no, the reason why people are single is because we're raised without two parents and we don't see that dynamic. That's why men are bad at it.
Okay, so what I'm saying is the reality still end up being the same thing. A bunch of people still single complaining about being single, right? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Oh, I didn't see my parents. It doesn't matter what the reason is. What I'm saying is
the thing is this. The thing is this. When you want to see change, you have to change. That's science. The way things was operating back then is just not the way things operate back right now. Everybody's mindset has changed. Well, mostly everybody's, and the people whose mindset is still back then is just going to have a hard time adjusting to what's going on right now.
That's true.
Like women are not the same.
That don't make it right.
They're never going to go back to that way of thinking. Not thinking, of living. Women will never go back to that way of living. So why not change your way of thinking to adapt with how you're living, and to not want to be a leader and to want to submit is just not in a woman's best interest in today's world, right? I know that's how you want to live, and I know you want to put this trust in a man and be able to want to submit to him and all of this, but women have fought, and women have made a way to not have to be y'all way of submissive, because I think the way a religious woman thinks submissive is, I have to listen to this man because he has the penis, and if it's a confrontation, I just have to bow down to him. That's how I look at it, and that's how it looks to me.
I don't see it like that though.
No, me either.
And here's the thing, because it's not about like, oh, I'm less than.
Because you said
it's no different, Darwin. It's no different. It's no different from a job. Like, let's say you have a company. You have the CEO of the company. He's the leader of the company. That doesn't mean that everybody below him is not significant. That doesn't mean that a smart CEO
And I
would
guess
not
all
listen.
I think it does.
that your
That
husband
doesn't
doesn't
mean a smart
necessarily have
CEO
to
will
be
not
the
listen
CEO of the
to
house.
the
I
people
guess is what I'm
below him. It
Oh.
means that he's the leader. And
I'll
so
tell you.
at the end of the day, there could be a survey sent out to 100 employees. And let's say 70% of them say they don't want this. The CEO, it's up to the CEO to decide. Okay, 70% say they don't want this. But I know XYZ. I know that if we don't do this, our company will fold. I'm the leader. I have the knowledge, I have the wisdom, the foresight. So I'm going to make a decision, and the people under me in this company have an obligation to take.
And what I'm saying is, I feel like sometimes that could be the husband, and sometimes it could be the wife. Sometimes that could even be the kids. We talking about a family. We're not talking about a corporation.
We're talking generally, though.
No, I understand. But okay, let me try to explain why I say what I say.
A CEO has control.
Let me try to explain why I say what I say. Because these are things that I have seen, and I'm talking about my very limited experience, which I understand all of our experiences are very limited. I'm not going to try to broaden it to make it more general, right? In my experience, from the people that I know who are religious people, right? Who have this mindset of, the man, the head of the household, all those other things, which is fine, right? But I've seen a lot of things that they're unhappy about or have problems with or have issues in their relationship are steeped in that. And if they just got their freaking mind, I'm going to tell you, they would be a lot happier. Because, for instance, like I know people who feel like there's certain things that their husband should be better at just because, like, they're the husband, like they are the head of the household.
But submission is not service. I keep saying
I'm not talking about service. I'm talking about just what you said. They feel like their husbands are supposed to be the CEO of the home. So that means that there are certain things that they themselves, as a female, as a woman, all this time has been better at. They're just better at this thing, but they feel like because they are the wife or because they have this husband now, that he is supposed to be the CEO of the home, right?
Because that's what they want.
So they expect him to be better.
Yeah, that's what they want. You definitely right about that, Rashad.
Then what they are. And what I'm saying is, if they would just shift and adjust and say, hey, I'm better at this thing right here, so let me carry this right here. Let me appreciate him for the things he is good at and he does bring to my life. It may not align with this idea of what I have for the CEO of my house, but I'm already the CEO of my house. Like I already got this down, right? You see what I'm saying? And they would be a lot happier. But what I'm saying is, since because they have this idea, so then it just brings up more things to be unhappy about and to be like, oh, because he should have did this. Oh, he ain't doing.
But you keep talking about things. You keep talking about things like, oh, he's better at figuring out what happens with the car than I am.
I'm talking about the job decision. I'm talking about whatever it is. What I'm saying.
Here's my thing: women are unhappy because they don't choose the men that can lead. They don't choose smart
because they aren't there.
They are there. They are there.
Do you want to be by yourself? Well, what I'm saying is, if as a woman, what I'm saying is, Ashley, you admitted it. What you said is you feel like most men are not what you're looking for, right? The majority of them don't exist, right?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is if for most women, most of these men don't exist, then what are you saying? They just be single forever, don't never have no kids?
No, but here's the thing.
Family, if you have children,
people have options, right? I'm a single woman. If I had the option today to marry a man that I did not think had any foresight and wisdom, okay, and could not lead a good life, a smart, wise life, I will stay single. I would rather be single because it is a deep desire for me to be with a man and have a life with a man that can lead. That's just
so you don't believe in growth.
You're asking people to not just take off a few things out of their box, off their checklist. You're asking people.
I'm not asking them anything. What I'm saying is, I'm not asking nobody nothing, right? Only thing that
I'm saying that's the implication of what.
Okay, no. What I'm saying is that if you say you want this relationship, you want a family, you want these things, then you're going to have to bend in order to get those in this day and age. You're not going to be able to have it in this idea that you think it exists, that I don't even know if it ever freaking existed, because I've never personally seen it. So I don't even know if it ever did exist. But if you say that it did, fine. But what I'm looking at right now, that's not the case. So what I'm saying is that if these are the things that you say that you want and are important, then you need to reevaluate your mindset. Now, if it's not, then fine. I'm not telling nobody nothing either way. All I'm saying is that if it's something you say that you want, right, then you just have to be mindful that you may have to make those adjustments, because we're not living in whatever times we talking about and all this stuff. Like I said, I don't know if it ever did exist.
Actually, it exists. I leave my home. I grew up with my father who led his home. I know a lot of Black men who have these traits. Yeah, there's other things that women and men, and we value different things, but really the stuff isn't that difficult. Like if women,
it sounds pretty difficult.
Man,
people seem to be having a pretty hard time.
Then get a man to lead, but that means you have to follow, submit, whatever word you want to use. In men, if you don't want to lead, that means you need to submit to a woman. It's really that simple.
I mean, I'm just saying, people seem to be having a pretty difficult time, though. Would you agree?
Follow her religious beliefs, they would be out of a home. Both of their cars would be repoed. If she
whatever, if that's what you want,
beliefs,
if that's what you want,
but
you have.
But then
if she had followed her religious beliefs, she wouldn't have married him.
But then you say she picked the wrong man.
Right, like religion to me has nothing to do with it, honestly. It's like common sense. Like if you want this, like do you want your man to lead? Do you not want to lead? Sense. One of the two. Like my fiance, she said she does not want to lead. Okay, that means I'm leading. Like it's that obvious. So that means if you don't want to lead, that means you need to submit.
In every aspect of life, you're leading.
But now we're like getting too like broad out there. We're just talking about relationship.
So in every aspect of life, Rashad, you're leading. Just like
it's not like
you said she doesn't want to be a leader.
She doesn't want to lead the household. Like so when a decision needs to be made that there might not be an agreement with, I make the decision.
Okay, so give me examples. What does that look like in your household?
So it could be like the value of education for like our daughter, or I'm trying to think other things like
that's a good one.
Like career choices and stuff like that, like where we're living, like whose career we're going to follow, kind of like what Raven said with her and her husband, like stuff like that. It's like two people are different. Like not everyone is going to be on the same path. I don't know. Maybe you and Darwin are, and it just like works perfectly. You guys are on the same page. But what a lot of, maybe most people, not everyone is going to be on the same path, meaning eye to eye. So there's going to be choices that need to be made. And then someone's going to have to make the final decision for that choice. And the other one's going to have to support that. It can be the man. It can be the woman. Usually it is the man. Most women say to be the man. Most women say they don't want to lead. Like that's what I've heard my whole life.
What about if we, like, because I get you. We did have a decision to make. I was living in Chicago. She was living in Atlanta. So a decision was to be made. Now the decision was made because guess what you said? Common sense. She had a 14-year-old at the time. Common sense is, why would we move a 14-year-old to Chicago knowing what type of circumstance we'll be living in, right? So we'll let this 14-year-old stay in Atlanta where he's we won't no big drastic change on his lifestyle because of his age, right? Because he's a teenager, he's going through things and blah 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 blah, right? Then the fact that she has a job where she actually has a career path, right? So she didn't have to make a decision. I really didn't have to make a decision. It was all common sense and what was best. So that's what I mean. Like certain things is just like,
not everything is common sense, straightforward, and that's when the leader comes in. Like you don't know if going left or right is the right thing, but a choice needs to be made.
Private school and public school. If you wanted your kid to go to public school and she wanted private school,
don't be stealing my example. This is my example.
This is the perfect example, though. This is a great one, though.
The private school, who makes the decision?
Who makes the decision?
I just want to jump in for a second real quick. You guys are doing a great job. From a non-religious standpoint, for me, I believe it's so important for my husband specifically because he's so awesome, but also for Black men in general to lead, because I'm looking as far as in the future, and I want the black community to get on a world scale. I want us to be actually competitive out here. And I'm not saying that women can't be the leaders, but I'm just saying if we look at the rest of the world, and if we sit down at a UN meeting, we can't be the only country with just female leaders. You know, we got to have male leaders who are competent, who've been practicing, who know how to lead a household without leading it down the cliff, who know how to listen to wise counsel. Because contrary to popular belief, it's not just sit back and let your husband make decisions. We talk all the time. I talk on here, so y'all know I talk, you know.
Most men can't even burp a baby.
Huh?
Most men can't even burp a baby.
That don't have nothing to do with it.
It got a lot to do with it.
My point is, I know we don't like to use analogies or whatever, but I always like the quarterback and the coach. Like my husband, he give me the play, I run the play. However, if I'm on the field and you don't see what I'm seeing, the play might be tweaked a little bit, you know. So we're still going to the same end zone. You know, I just did a blitz. You know, I did what do you call it? A screen. Somebody screened me this time. That's what it was. Whatever. It may not be a straight on blitz or whatever your original play may be, but we're still going toward the same goal. And you know, the goal is for him to be.
Okay, so you have a command of change.
Hold on, baby.
A chain of command type household.
Hey, pause. Pause. I'm finna ask Ashley a question. I got a question for Ashley. Because I need to know and I got a question for misunderstanding because y'all better not lie either. Y'all better not lie. Tell me that y'all have not grown up with women, right? What do they tell you about a man in a household as far as getting your agenda taken care of in a household with the man as the head? Did they say that the man make the final say or they say he thinks that what do they say?
All right, I'm gonna go.
No, time out. The women y'all grew up with and all that, the intelligent, smart women.
No. I'm gonna be honest.
Huh? What did they say? That there's a way.
It was a lot of
way that they handle that man, right? Because they already know what his strengths is, what his weaknesses are, whatever. In order to maintain his ego, they have to handle him a certain way to still get the things that they know need to get done, but they have to handle it with him a certain way for that ego. Tell me y'all ain't never heard that. But maybe they ain't say the word ego, but they'll say, you know, as a woman,
what I'm going to
how to, you know, go in.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. No, you're right. You're 100% right. And I cannot stand them home. Oh my God. If you don't tell them the truth, tell them the truth. Tell them exactly what's going on because nobody else is gonna understand all this tiptoeing. No. Give it to them straight. Be a grown man.
What I'm saying is get rid of the pretense and let's just tell the truth. Because what I'm saying is I have not seen this overabundance of freaking households and families where I'm just like, oh, he's the ultimate arbiter of decision making. I've just never seen it. And I'm not saying that men can't make decisions or that men aren't great decision makers. Like all that is fine. What I'm saying is in reality and in real life is way more nuanced than that. And what I'm seeing in a lot of the nuance is that what's happening or what has been happening is that there's a lot more ego coddling than anything that is actually of substance. You see, like what I'm saying.
I think you still have to always talk.
Reality still end up being a reality anyway.
Misunderstanding.
All right, 1 second, guys. We have a caller, and then I want y'all to chime in. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we have a caller. Go ahead, caller. You wanted to add something to the discussion.
I did. Hello, everybody. As I'm listening in, it's interesting because it just seems like there's so many different views in regards to this topic, simply because, in my opinion, belief issues, or not issues, but differences that there are. And I did want to make the comment about, in regards to just what I believe, you know, men are supposed to lead simply because they are supposed to be the head of the household. They are our leaders. We are supposed to submit to them in the way, just who they are. You know, making sure that our men are being built up as leaders, as misunderstanding. She was explaining, not in the sense of we do what they tell us to do, but they are the head and we are their neck, and we're supposed to support them. We're supposed to encourage them. We're supposed to allow them to lead our families, right? And we can't just continue to make excuses for what society is saying that they are supposed to do or cannot do today. No, we have to continue to encourage our men and make sure that they are being the leaders that they've been designed to be since the beginning of time. Remembering that we are their neck and we're supposed to come together and support each other. Without the neck, they will not stand. Without the head, we will not be existing either. So we have to come together, but they still lead us. That's just all I want to say.
Okay. Thank you so much for your comments. All right. Don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. All right. Thank you.
She sounds very religious.
Why you click off, Raven? You gonna click off? No, I'm just playing.
But look, regardless if she's right or not, hold on. Regardless if what she said is correct or not, this is what a lot of women say and think and want. And so
we know this. We know this. We know this.
I agree with you that these are discussions that a lot of people are having, but this is where cognitive dissonance comes into play for me. Because what I'm saying is I'm seeing some shit different in reality, and people are saying things, and what they're saying is not lining up with what.
But hold on, I got a question for Miss Raven. Miss Raven, you saying basically the same thing she said. But what does your husband say?
Yes.
About what?
Hold on, my thing frozen. Hold on.
Yeah, we should have your husband on the show. I want to know what is about submission.
We met Raven's lovely husband. And
I know, right? My Wi-Fi.
Wait, he was like, what?
So you saying the same thing this lady said. But what does your husband say?
And we talked about it because it's such a ingrained part of our relationship. Hold on. That's what I'm trying to say. My thing keep messing up. Hold on, guys. Okay. Am I still frozen? No. Okay. That's what I was gonna say. It's so ingrained in our relationship that he honestly thinks, he's like, man, this ain't no submission. This is just a regular relationship. And then we go home and talk about all these things. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, when you put it like that. But that's just how relationships are. That's not just how relationships are. That's how our relationship is.
Does he think
but
it's 50-50?
I was gonna go to a different. He think if he wash the dishes once a week, it's 50-50. So sure.
No, does he think he's in a 50-50 relationship?
People who think like that is like weird.
No, not really. A lot of times when we go out in public, they'll be like, how you get your wife to make you a plate, stuff like that. But that's just the
still
relationship.
That's like acts of service. Like that's something you want to do. That does have that.
Yeah, and I want to support his career as well. So I don't understand what the difference is.
That has nothing to do with submission either. Just because if you want to do something, that's just you want to do it. Submission. So
is submission being forced? Now I'm confused.
No, it's not. For submission is you doing something against your better judgment just because he said so.
Okay, see, on this end of the world, submission just say follow the plan. That's all they say in the dictionary. All that stuff you just brought up, great point. However, I'll hear you out. No, I hear you out, Darwin. And I'm gonna say something that my grandmama told me. Two things. You're right, Rashad. I hate agreeing with you. No, I'm just kidding. But you're right when you say that, it's about how people grow up. Because when I met my husband, even though we were like 17, he told me, I watched my daddy take care of a whole family. I want to be that man when I grow up. So who am I to be like, nope, I'm gonna do this? Nope, because you need that's your extension of or your idea of manhood. I'm gonna support that in all the ways I know how.
So you didn't work,
huh? Say it again.
So you didn't work.
You want to support him.
It don't have to
you
do
want
with
to
work.
take his whole family.
It don't have to do with
so
work.
That means you didn't work.
That means it didn't work, or I didn't work.
No, you didn't go to work.
I mean, for the first for the first year, I ain't gonna lie, it didn't work. It was boring.
See,
Very
y'all
boring.
talk this stuff that is that you cannot. You talk the stuff that you just cannot do. The way y'all talk about how y'all want y'all life to be, it will never be that way. You can't do it. A lot of men say, I want to take care of my family. I don't want my wife to work. I want you to be able to submit to me.
I ain't never said I wasn't supposed to work. His thing want to take care of the family. I still want to be a nanny. That still can coincide at the same time. Being a nanny it's still something I want to do.
No,
so he's still taking care of me.
That go to
I'm
boss.
gonna make as much money as he makes. I know, right? They go to real boss.
Yeah, that's the one everybody's submitting to.
I know, right?
Exactly.
I'm gonna say something. My grandma told me a long time ago. Like I said about me and being the leader, it's not gonna always be my idea, and that's all right because all my ideas are not great ideas. All his ideas are not gonna be great ideas. The goal, though, is to, even if it's not gonna be a good idea, learn from your fails. Shoot, if it was my idea and we fail, I expect the same grace. I expect you to be like, some ideas don't, always work out. Whatever. I don't expect you to run me through the ringer. See, that's why I'm gonna let you make no decisions. I don't expect that. So I'm gonna give you the same grace. That maybe wasn't a good idea. I know you already know that wasn't a good idea. Let's look at how we can do things differently. So
yeah, I think at the end of the day, you just gotta find somebody who thinks like you do about this situation. I think Hannah has a good point about, and Darren, you made this point too. It's not typical. You got a lot of men who want to supposedly be the leaders of their home, but they don't have women who want to submit. And then you have women who do want to submit, but you don't have men who know how to lead. So you could say, oh, well, you got to adjust. But at the end of the day, I think that it's like a personal choice, and we can't force our ideals on other people.
A good leader is also a good follower.
Walking away from this conversation without a clear understanding on what this submission is.
Nah, look.
I would either. Y'all done changed the definition 3 times. I done looked it up on my phone. Y'all talking about I'm like, what? I'm confused.
Y'all know what submit means. Y'all know what submit means. Y'all need to stop acting crazy.
Nah, people really don't know what submit means. Shit, I don't know what submit means.
Y'all said it's not serving. Then you said I gotta go against better judgment.
That's what I'm saying. Like every time I walk away from this conversation,
that's why we should kill the word submit, man. But let's use the word.
I don't even think we know what we're talking about.
Let's do that.
Reality,
no more.
In reality,
but look, at the end of the day, I don't want to leave this conversation on some like, let's work whatever works for you type of stuff. We should have like a general standard that people should go by. I think that's what's wrong with our community.
Right? How do you have a general standard?
You said what?
I don't think.
But see, I think that's what's wrong with our community.
We have to find people who we are compatible with. That's what I think.
But that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help lead anybody.
No, that's not true because listen, Rashad, like I'm just gonna be
how do you determine help? What? Who are you?
Darwin and Cannon, it's working for them. So,
yeah, but I
don't think we're really doing anything different than most other people are doing. That's what's driving me crazy. I know people, I talk to people, and just like Rashad said, just because you say the words, I submit to my you still doing the same shit I'm doing. That's what's so frustrating.
That's the point I'm making too. Like
maybe you don't have a problem.
So do you want? So Cannon, do you want Darwin to lead?
My wife makes decisions.
He leads in the areas that he's strong in, and I lead in the areas that I'm strong in, just like every freaking body else do in their relationships.
Submit to each other, but
everybody does this in their relationships. Everybody I know does the same shit.
But listen. This is why like having a standard makes a difference because Raven, you made that point, like going to the UN meetings and seeing like America having, female leaders and stuff like that. And
it's not anything wrong with it.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, but Shannon and Darwin, y'all made the example of adjusting the change and stuff like that. But like we as a Black community have adjusted that change. And look what that change has got us, not in a good place.
All I'm saying is y'all saying that we are doing something drastically different than other people are doing. And I'm telling you, we know plenty of other married couples, religious and non-religious, and we're fucking not. We're not doing anything drastically.
And what y'all saying?
We're doing the same shit. People just saying stuff out their mouth. That's not lining up with reality.
What we doing, Raven? I know you and your husband probably cooperate from the talks we had. Probably cooperate the way me and my wife cooperates. It's just you don't want to use the word, like you already said. You don't like the word submit, so you don't even want to use that word.
Whose blueprint do y'all go off of?
See, and that was what I was gonna say. It's
our own blueprint.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, on the face of it, of course, we both make decisions. I'm not gonna call him and be like, "Hey, babe, what should I make for dinner tonight?" If I got a meal plan, I'm gonna be like, I'm making either fish or chicken, and you decide whichever one you want for dinner, or you don't have to decide, and I can make whichever. It's not that serious. However, the end goal, the big plan, is to get him to a master tech. It's not about my nannying business. It's not about what I got going on this end of the world. It's to get his.
And I know a guy who, if you would have made a meal for him like that, he would have said you wrong and you're not submissive, because the fact is this: you should have called him and gave him a choice on what you was gonna make. Am I right, babe?
That is not a good husband.
I was gonna say that sounds
that is not a dude who should be a husband or a leader.
That sounds like a very mean man. If I know they like chicken, I'm gonna be like, no, you can happy with either one.
Give you the choice first.
Wait, hold on, y'all. Y'all talking at once.
Right. Hey, I don't know what kind of dude be in Chicago, man.
See, ain't no grass out there. Ain't no hay. That's what it is.
Don't be putting my people out there.
Just saying.
The men y'all described, it's like
that submission is a mouthful, boy. I'm telling you.
All I'm saying is a lot of things that's being described and a lot of things that people are saying words, but like I say, in reality, in most households that I see, people lead on what they're strongest in, and their partner accepts that. That's what's happening.
A lot of men call
so all these conversations, like I say,
but I love empowering my wife, because guess what? She's going to empower my daughters. So I'm never going to allow her to dim her light just so I can feel like a man. Like, part of being a man is being able to just sit back and be like, yeah, hey, just like you said, a CEO. Even if you want to use that example, a CEO, sometimes he just sit back and let the other people just call the shots and run things. He might not know nothing for 2-3 months of what's going on in his business until some shit hit red. Be like, oh, hold on, let me step in. So the fact is, he's still submitting because he's letting people handle things that is of importance to him. So what type of labels you want to use, it's okay. But when we was talking about 50-50, it's just, I mean, it's 50-50.
But see, that works for y'all because, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Cannon, you wouldn't say, I want my man to lead. Or you wouldn't say, I want to submit.
No,
to
I do lead.
No, I'll tell you, I just wouldn't say those words because, like I say, I live in reality and I like to have a connection on the words that I say to actions. So what I'm telling you is, after having this conversation 11 million times, I still don't have a clear understanding of what exactly that entails. When somebody's like, I want my man, they're like, he has to have the final say.
But Rashad, I don't want you to be confused with this. I don't want you to be confused that I don't lead.
Right, like
don't
the
lead.
final.
I very much lead. I just don't win to lead.
Like the final definition that I've ever gotten is always who has the last say in the house if y'all just can't decide on something. That's what it always boils down to. So what I'm being told that's what that's supposed to mean. And no, I don't want that. I don't just want him just because he got a penis. Then I'm like, oh, you got the final say because we couldn't agree on something. No, we're gonna figure this out. We're two adults. We have minds. We have information at our fingertips. But like he said, we have trust for each other. So why can't we come to an agreement? Why would I have to just be like, that's some lazy shit? Like, oh, you have the penis, so you make the decision. What? Like, what is that? I've just never seen that play out. So that's why
it's not quite like that. But
because I still don't know what that means. And
that's exactly what it's like.
Saying that because I also don't see that in practice. Like most relationships that I see, and especially when you're talking about people having more than one breadwinner for their household, that is how they're run. I don't care what people say out their mouth. They could keep saying that shit all they want to, but I'm looking at what they're doing. It's what I'm saying. And they're doing the same shit me and my husband are doing. So they could keep being like, oh, because I want, fine, beautiful for you. Keep telling yourself that's what you're doing. I'm looking at you. I see you doing the same thing.
I would say mine kind of mirrors more of what Raven and her husband are doing. Like there's a blueprint and we're following that blueprint and supporting what that blueprint is going to, and both are supporting it, but it was the blueprint for her husband. For whatever reason.
But how? Okay, I guess I'm asking, how else would you have a relationship if you planning on getting two people together and y'all coming together as one, right? And y'all trying to have a vision, a goal for your family. How the fuck else are you gonna do it successfully?
Some people plan their careers separately. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't look for him to help me with my nanny career, but I actively go out my way to help him with his, mechanic career. So I don't.
Yes. Sometimes two visions, two wants of a people, like two people can't mesh, so you have to make a decision. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the penis ends up making the final decision just because he got a penis. Is that
whoever level-headed man who makes good decisions? It's because you picked a level-headed man who makes good decisions, who's confident, who's got a vision.
Penis.
Always helps out the decision making.
Some people are okay with that.
Because that's what the women say they want. It's that simple.
Some people are okay with that.
Right, and it's okay.
Don't get me wrong.
And I understand, that's not what you would just say you want, Ken. And I think that's why it works for you guys. But it's different. And I'm saying
no, because I live in reality.
And that's it could be for whatever reason.
Okay, no.
Most women say the opposite.
But are they getting that?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It matters to me. I'm not gonna say some shit just to say it, just because it sounds good.
It's not just to say it though. It's not just to say it though.
All right, y'all. We have
reality.
Guys,
is it reality for most people, Rashad? Yes or no? Is it reality for most people? You said most women say they want that. Is that the reality for most women, though?
To have it or to
they
want
say it when they get it.
When
they think they got it. Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
No, but there's other reasons.
So I like to live in a place called reality. So I don't just say shit just to say it. Is what I'm saying. So no, I would not say that.
I want to see.
Right. Again, it's where you're coming from. You're coming from a different want in place. So
no, I'm coming from reality. I could say those words because it sounds right. No. What I'm saying is I could even say that to y'all right now because
your
it
reality
sounds like
is different than mine. Like
say.
What you say doesn't exist. I say it does exist a lot, but there's reasons why a lot of women don't have it. There's a lot of reasons, but it
exists a lot, or a lot of women don't have it.
So we can't say it's not reality because we've seen it before.
So a lot of women have it or they don't have it. Yes or no?
Now they don't, but that's not why. It's not just simply it doesn't exist. There's reasons why it doesn't exist. Are you sure that they had it before though? Like who told you that? Where you get that from? So what is considered having it? What is considered having it?
All right, Rashad, I want Canada. Let's finish this discussion, but we have a caller I'm going to bring on screen, all right? His name is Chaotic Truth Live.
Yes, the Chaotic Truth Live. How you guys doing?
I've seen you. I saw you on Themis and Thought the other night.
Oh, really? Oh, awesome.
I did.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, okay. No, I just came up because I saw that you guys were live. I just came from a few other panels and I saw the title and I just wanted to, broach the topic with you guys if that's possible, or Ashley, or is it just one question and out? How do you want me to do it?
I mean, just chime in. What do you think? You've been hearing the conversation. It started with the question: does submission have a role in 50-50 relationships?
When was that? Because I didn't. Okay, that was like earlier on.
Yeah, that was the original question.
Okay, so I'm assuming. So Cannon and Mrs. Understanding and Ashley, what was your answer?
I'm a proponent of submission. I believe submission is rooted in biblical principles. Okay, I understand that some people don't abide by what the Bible says, and that is their choice. I believe that the Bible calls for men to be the head of their households. I think the head of your household means that you are the leader. I think that means that the woman is very important. The woman is not insignificant. She is not inferior. She is not, to me, weaker.
That's true.
It means that she is willing to follow the person who's the head. I liken it to employees who choose to work at a company. They follow the leadership of the CEO.
Right.
Or teachers who decide to work at a school. They follow the leadership of the principal. That's how I like it. Mrs. Understanding, she can tell you her perspective. Go ahead.
I'm not as religious per se. For me, it's more so about the economic standpoint. Like I said previously, I would like for the Black community to be on a more level playing field as far as the world basis, and in a lot of other situations, the men tend to be the leaders. I don't see anything wrong with that as long as you are capable. I believe my husband is more than capable. However, but I always say different strokes for different folks. So if that's not even your idea of a relationship, don't look over here for answers, because that's all I'm gonna be able to give you. All I'm gonna be able to give you is submit to your man. Y'all communicate, work out a middle ground to whatever, because you don't want to be left out in the cold. And a good leader is going to anticipate your needs. It's very rarely that I have to tell my husband or even ask him for something, because normally he's aware of what I need, how I'm doing. If my mood is a little off, he knows, oh, something's going on. We need to sit down and have a movie night, spend more time, whatever the case may be. But he's an attentive leader because he's an attentive man in general. So at this point, I don't know if that's every man, because we got together so young. I don't know what these dudes out here like. I don't know.
And the point that I was making is I'm not a very religious. Well, I'm not religious at all. I did grow up in the church, so I'm well versed on the scripture that everybody likes to use. Wives, submit to your husbands. And it also says husbands, submit to your wives. So I don't know if that part gets left out of the conversation. So because that part always gets left out of the conversation, the whole thing just confuses me every single time. Like every single time I get confused, because the way people talk about this submission thing, right? They talk about it in very general terms that are not very that don't have a lot of succinct, clear definition to what they're talking about. And then once I get to talking to people, everybody that I talk to, when I actually ask them, like, tell me what that looks like, it always ends up boiling down to, well, it basically, if y'all can't decide on something, the man should have the final say because he's the man. And no, I don't. I don't agree with that. If that's what that is, then no, I don't agree with that. I don't think that in a relationship you should ever even get to a point where you cannot communicate and discuss and come to a consensus on something to the point where it has to be like, well, I'm the penis, so I said, and it goes like, how do you even get there? That's confusing to me. So in that instance, that's just what this whole submission conversation, I just, like I say, wives submit to your husband and husbands submit to your wives. So I don't see why those two things aren't.
Can I make an amendment to that? I'm looking up that verse now. It says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Not submit.
Let me see. I'm about to look it up too.
Yeah, I don't think it's that verse though.
Y'all go ahead. I'm looking up.
I'm looking through.
What do you think, chaotic truth?
What do I think? Okay, so mine is a little bit more complicated. Not to say that your answers weren't complicated, but mine is complicated from my own perspective. I think that absolute submission is an absurdity. I do think that there is a practical submission. For example, men generally are physically stronger. Men generally know how to handle certain situations better than women. And I feel as though if a woman is putting a man could potentially put a man into a situation, then the man has every right to say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it this way.
And vice versa, right?
Right. So, for example, I'm married, right? And I'm very conservative. I grew up in a nuclear family.
He knows. He gonna
my mom and dad are still married to this day. My dad is almost 90. My mom is pushing 70. And my mom is a church lady. She's been going to church all my life. My dad, on the other hand, doesn't go to church. But nevertheless, though, so I grew up, from my perspective, in a very ordered environment. Now, I say all that to say that the woman that I'm married to now, my wife, I properly vetted her. And despite all this little blazer I have on and me talking like I'm an intellect, I used to get around. I went to a very big PWI, and I slept around even after I graduated. But one thing I can tell you is that with my wife, I don't have to worry about her walking out the house dressed half naked. Now, the reason why I say that is because as a man, you should set a standard. You're going to submit to me in terms of your dress. And there's a reason why. You are putting me at risk if you dress half naked when you go out in public. Now, hear me out. How many women are gawked after? How many women are catcalled? How many women are disrespected because of the way that they dress? Now, when I was in college, I used to have to tell females that I was dating and sleeping with, you are not going to come out in public with me dressed a certain way. I'm only 5'10". I can't fight everybody and beat everybody up. That's impossible. There's billions of men on the planet. I ain't winning every fight. So what we're going to do is that we're going to, me being the man, I'm going to tell you how you're going to dress right now. Now, if there's something that will keep her safe with me, then she has every right to say that, and I could submit to her request. So that's an aspect of submission that I hope you guys can understand, right? Did that make any sense?
You were like,
you know, it made a lot of sense.
Okay. Hopefully that went over the right way.
The same thing that you believe.
I understood what you were saying in relation to the submission thing. Just the example.
In terms of, I was just giving one aspect.
Yeah. Just the example. I had some pushback on the idea that women are going to be disrespected more if they're dressed a certain way. I've been more.
I got this bag.
Freaking T-Mobile uniform.
I got this.
Other things. So
please, Mr. Hill, please, because it sounds like a conversation we had at dinner.
Because I still want to broach the topic that Ashley asked me. So
that was a good example. And
thank you.
I
live by it. Not just an example. I live by it.
No, I do too. I'm married, and my wife, she can dress a little skimpy. And the thing is this, she was dressing skimpy before I married her, right? So the way I am, I'm about 5'9". You know, I'm not the biggest man in the world either. So when we go out, the thing is this, I know how to carry myself, and I trust my wife to carry herself in a way also. I'm 38. I've never been disrespected and in a way of such where I thought I was putting my wife in danger. And I know men look at her, and men have actually tried to talk to her in my presence. And we both know how to handle ourselves, right? She handled it accordingly with respect. And I stood back and let her handle that, right? Because she's a woman. Now, if things was to get out of hand, then I would have stepped in as a man. But because my woman has class and the way she dresses doesn't define her, I already knew it wasn't going to be a problem. You know, so I understand what you're saying. It can cause a problem. It can cause a lack of protection because your wife can put you in a compromising situation by the way she dresses, and she gets this attention from guys. And and a guy might get out of line, but you know, I haven't came across that. And you know,
Darn, I got a question for you. So you're okay with Cannon dressing somewhat skimpy?
Somewhat, no, all the way.
With me.
Tell him.
Okay, but with you. Okay, so wait a minute. So let's say y'all were going out, okay, and she is wearing something that is 100 times
stank, girl, stank.
but 100 times what she's done in the past.
I don't even know how that'd be possible.
And you don't wear it, Darwin. And let's say you don't. Let's say that's too much for you.
Who you wearing?
You don't like.
Hey,
okay. So let me ask you this: Have you all ever been in a situation where Cannon wanted to do something that you didn't agree with?
Yes.
Okay. So how did you all handle that?
I let her do it.
You let her do it?
She grown. She's a woman. She's like, the thing is this, just because I feel a way, that doesn't mean it's right? So if I feel like I don't like something or I disapprove of something, it's not my place. She's a human being. She's a grown woman. I at the end of the day, I expect her to still respect me. And just because she does what she wants to do, that's not disrespecting me. Now, if she goes out and it was a mistake and it came and the outcome was something that embarrassed me or something like that, I would expect her as a woman to come and apologize, and then that never happens again. But that's where trust comes in at. She's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But one thing is this: I'm not going to control another human being. That's just not me. Because at the end of the day, she makes her own decisions. She makes her own money. She has her own life. She has her own mind. And I know for a fact that anything she does, it's in the goodness of her heart. Now, it might sometimes it might not come out that way, but that's with everybody. I do stuff sometimes that might disappoint her, and I'm pretty sure everybody on this panel has disappointed their loved one, whether they did it on purpose or whether they did it as a mistake or without just the knowledge. But just because she wants to do something that I disapprove of, it's not my place to dim her light. If she wants to do something, I'm gonna let her do it, and I'm gonna let life show her if it was right or wrong. You know, and as my spouse, I expect her to know at the end of the day, if she came home and I was like, and she saw and I disapproved of it, she's going to, act accordingly. So, and I expect the same, from her.
Okay. You have in the question.
Come on, what you got?
Now, can I tell you guys a story real quick?
Sure.
I've been a bachelor most of my life up until I got married a few months ago. I'm 37 years old, and I'm going to tell you guys,
bachelor your whole life.
Absolutely, no kids and everything up until I got married. I'm going to tell you guys a story. What was that? About 2014, I was, at that time I had about 2 or 3 girlfriends at the time, and I don't want to say chick, I'm sorry, one lady that I was very fond of. She was over at my house. My fraternity brother was there, and also another friend of mine was there. Now she decides to get into a debate with my fraternity brother, whom she doesn't really know. Now, previously, I've had conversations with her. I used to tell her it's not really womanly. Women aren't supposed to talk to strange men. Women aren't supposed to do this, and we'll go back and forth. I'm like, okay. So she's at my house, and you know where this is going. I'm at my desk. I have my desk in the office. I have my desk in my living room at the time, and I'm working on my little I remember like it was yesterday. I'm working on my t-shirt line, and my fraternity and brother and her got into a conversation about, I don't know what it was, politics. I don't know. So my fraternity brother, who's about 5'11", 6 foot, real former football player, muscular. He out debated her. I will admit that he actually won this debate in terms of facts and logic and reason. And not to say that she couldn't. You know what she did? She gets upset, comes to me and say, "You ain't gonna say." Well, okay. Let me not do that caricature because she didn't act like that. But basically said, "You're not gonna say nothing to him. You're not gonna have my back." I said, I'm not gonna say her name. I said, "E. Now, didn't I tell you when you are around strange men to not open your mouth? This is why. Because as soon as your little feelings get hurt, you do what a lot of women do. You run back to a man. And this is why I tell you to keep your mouth shut, because you're putting me in danger. I can see if we're just randomly walking somewhere and some man did something to you. Of course, I'll have your back. But I told you, this is why ancient man," and Ashley's about to kick me off the panel in a minute, but this is why ancient man set up rules, because there is a difference between masculine energy and feminine energy, male culture and female culture. Men and women, I hate to say this, probably should not mingle and fraternize. Listen, I've gotten fired from plenty of jobs because I was fraternizing with women. Yes. And now that I'm older, I realize, damn, now that's why I got fired. Maybe I shouldn't have been hitting on this woman. Maybe I shouldn't have been maybe I shouldn't have been hanging out after work with all these chicks. It's not my So what I'm saying is that permission works both ways. I'll tell you something else.
Can I ask a question to Mr. Chaotic?
Okay, let me finish one point.
Yeah, go ahead.
My wife, she knows I love drinking. I don't drink and drive, but she knows I love drinking. She says things like, "Babe, can you not drink in excess when you go out? Because you know what I do when I drink in excess? I get to going up to strange people, talking to them, kissing on girls' cheeks. And there was one time, many years ago, and I told my wife this.
So you be getting punched in the face, huh?
I'll tell you the story. I was at a hood bar, a very hood bar. I got so wasted. I walk up to this woman sitting at the bar. I got to talking to her. Now, thank the universe, I didn't touch this woman. Her husband, one of these old school black dudes, probably had a revolver in his pocket. He came out and said, "What's going on here?" I was like, oh. He said, "Hey, beat it." And that basically was, "Nigga, you got about 20 seconds until I'm chasing you out of here." And so my wife knows that. So I submit to her request when she asks me not to drink. Well, I don't really drink anymore anyway, but when she asks me not to drink, submission works for safety reasons. That's why I think so. And I also will say this. If a man is a high earner, a very high earner, he could take care of the family. Yes, a woman should be the absolute domestic woman if possible. Misunderstanding, what say you?
But domestic doesn't necessarily mean domesticity is a part of submission, but I don't think that encompasses submission.
I'm still stuck with these strange men.
I mean,
that's your
I
wife.
don't like.
No, it wasn't my wife. It wasn't my wife at the time.
So
listen, so by your logic, you're saying that if a man doesn't provide 100% of, the finances, whatever the material things that your family needs, he deserves less submission.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So what about a man who doesn't provide? But what about a man who doesn't provide for he does provide, but he makes less than the woman, so he doesn't deserve any submission?
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, I hate to say this, but unfortunately, I don't know why human beings are like this, but a man's value is really based on how much he earns, how much resources he has. I wish the world wasn't like that.
Come out. Pause. This is very important. Not just a man, though. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like what you said, chaotic truth. I totally agree with you 1,000%. You pay the cost to be the boss. Period. Yeah. So what I'm saying is no, but that's just reality. If somebody
that's not submission, though. That's worldly people who are attaching their own beliefs, men and women included, to what submission is.
So you just said but Ashley said that's but Ashley said that submission was, you said wise counsel, right? Humble, right?
No,
right?
Submission, that's leadership. Submission is yielding to authority and leadership.
Okay. So okay, pause. Pause. So what you're telling me is that if you are more financially successful than a man, that you're going to submit to his leadership of your finances in your household?
You're asking me?
I'm talking to Ashley.
You're saying if I am more successful financially?
Correct. If you got that part, let's say he could be a great father, a great family man. Oh, okay. Like I said,
I want to.
But listen, I'm gonna be real with you.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's say I make more money.
So it's still lots of finances. Then if you won't even be with somebody who's not making as much money as you.
I didn't say that. No, I'm saying if I make more money, I will still submit to this man.
Why?
Your question. Because he's still the head of the household. Okay.
But you make better financially sound decisions. So why would you do that?
Not necessarily.
No, I know. I'm saying that you do.
First off, I wouldn't marry a man that is not financially savvy. He doesn't have to have a lot of money, but I don't want to marry a man that is not financially savvy. I just don't. I don't want that. I'm not.
You don't have to have a lot of money. Well, how is he financially savvy and he ain't got nothing?
You could make $50,000 a year. You could be.
And you call that financially savvy?
I think that you could be financially.
I think you haven't been making good financial choices.
But see, everybody doesn't
make a lot of money and not be financially savvy at all.
down to
I mean that too, but at least you have enough sense to make the money.
If a man is making $50,000 a year and he's married, his wife can yell at him and can pretty much do whatever she wants to do. The more money a man makes, the less mouth a woman should have.
That's the average black man in America.
Well, and that's why black women act the way that they do. Because my philosophy on it is this: the more money a man makes, the less you should hear a woman's mouth.
So what about a woman? So what about if a woman makes more money?
A man shouldn't be in a relationship if a woman's making more money than him. And that's just my opinion. I don't want anybody else to agree with that or not, but as a man, I really believe.
Question.
I want to get the misunderstanding, but go ahead, Tarwin.
So question.
Yeah.
So if my dream ever since a child,
Darn, I can't hear it. Can you guys hear Darn? I can't hear it.
Go ahead, darling. I can hear.
So if my dream as a child was to become a police officer, we know police officers start off making 30,000-40,000 a year, and I get with a woman.
What city? What city you're talking?
I mean that's
police in New York start off at like 60 or 70. Well, I got you though.
It's average. So and then I meet a woman. I'm at the club, a bar. I meet a woman, and we get to know each other. And she's inspiring to be a doctor, and she's about to go to get her first job. She done graduated. She's about to start making 80 to 90,000. She's a brain surgeon, whatever the case may be. So therefore, I should have to not. She should look down on me.
Yes.
My dream of being a police officer doesn't pay as much as her job.
Yes. That's just my opinion. I don't want anybody to listen. I'm not trying to. I'm joining the panel because that's what the title was.
Well, I do agree with
that's
you.
all I'm saying. I don't want nobody to believe what I'm saying.
But chaotic truth, what I will give you is at least that is ideologically consistent.
Yeah. If your woman is
ideologically consistent,
Ashley, if you are a brain surgeon, Ashley,
what I'm saying is he's at least being ideologically consistent, because what he's saying in his mind that a man's value as a leader is tied to his ability to provide. And so what he's saying is if you're not able to provide for that woman at the level you're supposed to, then those rules do not apply.
Or she deems
ideologically consistent based on what he's saying. But that's what I mean. People want to bend it, like, and at least he being ideologically consistent. Everybody want to be tap dancing and like, I'm 50-50, but I'm real submissive. And that's not really what they're doing. Is the point that I was making.
Yeah, okay, so wait,
what he's saying is the logical conclusion to the discussion is being
misunderstanding. Mrs. Understanding had a question. You might have answered her question.
Sorry, it was just a really simple question. You said that you believe that it's a man's role, or I guess a natural biological role, to provide, but it's also including protection.
Yes.
I don't know anything about you other than what you just came on here and said, but I have a husband who's he's a big guy. He does security a lot. We've been out in situations where it wasn't how it was dressed. It's just because people were rowdy and they wanted to fight, and it wasn't. He didn't turn to me and say, well, you should have did this and this. So my question is...
Oh, my camera just went dead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Should I keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm still here. My camera just went dead. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. My question is, because not to say you have to be like Mr. Hill and be a cage fighter, but
yeah.
do you think, I know and providing is important, what do you think is your responsibility to increase your ability to protect?
Okay, so
you just ain't going out tonight.
So misunderstand it. You gotta understand.
You cannot go anywhere. That's not
misunderstand it. The thing is that men, I'm gonna be very brutally honest. Our brains are different from your brains, just like your brains are different from a man's brain.
Is that a scientific fact?
Well, it is. Well, hear me out for a minute. Just hear me out for a minute.
I just want to know, should we work on protection? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, I know. It's
working on protection. Are we just saying?
Validate that scientifically.
Yeah. So here goes the thing. Our brains are wired different as men. Because we come from a long lineage of being hunters and gatherers. We had to be able to strategize and hunt and ensure that the community was provided for. That's just a fact. If you just look outside, the society in which you live in is created and built and maintained and generally managed by men. If you look at the roads, the skyscrapers, etc. So the thing is that even with security, safety and security, men have to strategize. I understand what you just told me. You just said your husband's a relatively big guy. You've been in situations where certain things could have happened. Yes, so have I. But the thing of the matter is that men have to always think about their safety and security and the security of the people around them. I am not a big man, but I do know this. I understand that clothes tell a story. And I listen, I gotta admit this. When I'm around Muslim women, when I'm around Pentecostal women, I do not look at them in a sexual manner on the same scale that I look at women who are dressed
So is that
scantily.
something like those countries where
But
the
then
women
that tells more about
So
you.
I just wanted to
the ankles. And
Well,
they
Miss
couldn't
Candace,
So basically,
I just
what
wanna-
I'm saying is,
I just want to
they
answer.
shoulder.
I just want to answer Mrs. Understander's question. So what I'm saying
I
is
get what you're
that
saying.
every
I
situation
don't
may
understand. I know
every-
I do understand, but it's very sexist.
just hear me out. Every situation may not result in something bad happening. But what if? The thing of the matter is that if a woman is dressed in a reserved manner, if she's dressed in a very conservative manner, generally people in society perceive that woman as being respectable more than a woman who's dressed like Pinky Triple X. Now, again, I could be wrong, but yeah,
No,
So hold on. Let me explain
pause,
it.
pause, wait a minute,
This
wait a
is
minute.
what he's saying.
Chaotic truth. No, chaotic
He's saying
truth.
yes,
I am a woman.
yes, I can see that.
I experienced the world as a woman.
Yes.
Right. I don't think you've ever experienced or walked through the world as an actual woman.
I have not.
Okay.
No, he's answering her question though. Her question was, what can he do to be a protector? And what he's saying, since he's not about to go around beating people up.
Yes, but he's going after
to strategize.
I hear,
himself and his woman. He's just going to pick a woman who's not going to dress that way to.
I hear what he's saying, and I'm offering pushback.
I don't think it's being.
I'm offering pushback on the fact that he thinks that the way that the woman is dressed is what's going to inoculate him.
Actually, the situation I was going to bring up doesn't have anything to do with my clothing. We were actually just at a peach drop. We were at a peach drop, and this woman behind us just got upset, and her clique, I guess, of people just wanted to fight. Nobody cared what I had on. It didn't happen.
I would have walked away from them Negroes so fast. Yeah, you would have.
My point was that my husband didn't just turn and tuck tail and say, "Oh, I'm so scared." No, he defended me and him because one, that's as a protector what he's supposed to do, and as a security guard in often situations, it's just in him, just to naturally do it. But I said that because every threat is not going to be based on how your girl is dressed. So
most of them are not going to be
your girl or anybody else. How you can improve your ability to protect? Because, like I mentioned about the peach drop, it wasn't about my outfit. It was about those people just being drunk. That was all. Your girl in a nice dress
because you trying to worry about how your girl is dressed. I was gonna say I've been accosted more times in my work uniform on a regular t-shirt and jeans than I ever have when I've been dressed going out and hanging out or whatever. Like I've had men literally, they will grab my arms, they be doing all types of stuff, and I'm not no type of provocative way. So it's intimidation. Approach you a certain way. Nah,
let me ask y'all this: if you're out with your man, and men, when you're out with your women, if danger occurs, who's expected to protect? And then that's just the mentality that men don't do.
And danger doesn't happen more often just because of a woman's
dressed a certain way. That's back on. That's why that's real problematic.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
So when we go out, I make sure. My wife will tell you, I'm looking at everybody. I be pointing out everything. I know where the exit doors are at. If I go to a small lounge, I walk around the lounge, make sure there's no enemies, people I got into it, and that's just how I'm overprotective. And if I see someone that it look like I may have got into it with, I'm leaving. Like, well, we got to get up out of here. Like, if I see too many heavies up in the place, that mean like people a lot of money, and I know they street people, I'm gone. Because I know it might be some stuff about to jump off. Like, it's too many of these people up in here. We got to go. Like, I'm very conscious of stuff like that instead of how my woman is dressed. Because like you say, you have to protect your woman. You're not trying to protect.
We have to stay cognizant of it.
Exactly. So I do understand what he's saying, but I do understand what Miss Raven and my wife is also saying too. So, but he's saying on the level of if a man disrespects his woman because she's dressed provocative and starts disrespecting her and treating her as a whore or something like that because she's dressed like a whore, maybe. I think that's what he's getting at, which is a very small thing when it comes to protecting your woman when you're out, so.
Okay. I'm still just stuck on this correlation between.
Did you say just like a whore?
I mean, I think
slut bucket.
Hey, that's the word I had to use. So
Yeah, I mean, the assumption is that if you show more, that you're willing to give up more. That's not always the case.
And I don't think men even be responding. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, me experiencing the world. You're a woman too, right? Me experiencing the world as a woman, growing up on the south side of Chicago, I've been approached and grabbed way more times, dressed bummy, looking, just regular clothes on.
I don't really dress provocatively, but the times that I've been touched inappropriately, grabbed, like I was fully clothed.
Exactly.
So what's the men are saying?
The point that I'm making.
I think men just want women to dress modestly around them. But to say it's because of safety, I don't know. Because if you're an attractive woman, you're going to get attention either way.
If the argument is safety, then that means there will be literally zero violence going on in countries where women are in full coverage. And that's not the case.
That's what I said. Them ankles come out, they just lose their mind.
Kidnapped in a full burqa. It can't be both. It can't be.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's
just that I'm making. I feel like men actually get more intimidated when I'm dressed provocative.
Yeah, I think they just don't like it. They don't like it. And y'all could just
I'm not gonna. I don't like it. I'm sorry.
You could just say that.
Right. Just leave it there. But no.
And I've been like that since college. I used to shame girls on campus for dressing like that.
It's the Madonna whore complex.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
hold on. Time out. Pause. Chaotic truth.
Yes.
But do you enjoy looking at women?
Exactly. You don't go to the
not in public. No, I will admit, no, not in public. I've never had that. Now, listen, believe it or not, no.
You don't look at them in public. You just look at them in private on your phone.
I will admit. I go to the big three.
Search history.
Yeah, exactly. The big threes in the search history. Yes, that is true. But that's personal stuff. But in public, no, I don't like it in public. No.
You don't like any woman to be dressed provocatively in public.
Absolutely not. No.
You don't want to see that shit.
I don't know why I'm like that.
Put the ankles away.
Put their boobs away.
Well, I wouldn't say all that, but I've just been very conservative.
Why you got that thigh out? Put that thigh meat away.
Yeah,
You don't hide that damn forehead. I swear to God.
Yeah. Skin.
Yeah, I don't like it being shown in public. But now in private is a different story. Yes, that's different.
So you don't want to see any woman out dressed provocatively. So you don't look at them.
Of course, of course I look at. I don't look at women now because I'm married, but of course I did. I'm a man. I'm biologically programmed to do that. But
why can't you just say you don't respect it? Like,
no, I won't. No, I'm not gonna say that. No, I'm not gonna say that. It's not that I don't respect it. It's just that I believe that women should be dressed conservatively, and mild and mannered in public. I just believe that. Now, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just how I've always functioned.
All right, y'all.
It's your opinion, so it can't be wrong because it's just
it's just my opinion. I don't expect people to believe it like the gospel, but
I like all the meat out.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We got a caller, okay? Hey.
I'm charging my phone up, my camera up, by the way.
Okay, good. I was going to ask you. Good, thank you. Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, what's going on? This is Steven.
Hey. It's one of our fan faves. Hey, Steven.
What's up, Steve-O? That's my boy.
Rashad, Derwin. And then everybody else.
Chaotic truth.
Chaotic.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I've been kind of digging the conversation tonight, man. Y'all been touching on some very interesting topics. Now I'm trying to catch up right now, but are you guys talking about how a woman dresses defines how you should go about defending her?
Well, it led to this discussion about a woman's dress because we were talking about
He's talking about
submission. Yeah, and so Chaotic Truth was like, well, you know, there's a reason why I don't want my woman dressed a certain way. He's saying, like, my job is to protect you, right? I'm the man, you're gonna be looking for me to protect you. If you're dressed a certain way, you're gonna invite certain attention. That's what he's saying. And that will put me in a position that I shouldn't be in. So that's why we ended up talking about dress. Okay. Now, I think some of us are kind of disagreeing because we're kind of like, well, I partly agree. I think that a woman should, I know, Candy Girl, you gonna spank me or something, but I personally do think that if you're married to a man and he says, I don't want you wearing that, I think you should be wearing it. That's just how I think. Okay.
I'm not gonna spank you because I think if a woman tell her husband like that's take that off, bro. I think
I agree with you.
However, I don't agree that, you know, dressing a certain way it could invite negative attention, but I think we also like as women, I think Canon, Mrs. Understanding, and I understand that you can still be treated like that, and we often are still treated that way because of how we're dressed. I mean, I don't really dress, you know, sometimes I'll wear a short dress, but it's still not, you know, by most people's standards, it's not like, you know, raunchy or nothing. Like, I'm mostly dressed conservatively, and I've experienced some of the same things Cannon has. So we're kind of just like, well, is that the real reason? Like, is that the real reason you saying that you don't want this?
That ain't the real reason.
So I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. Like you said, I don't think how you dress should invite, you know, sexual harassment or sexual abuse. But however, how you dress is what you're saying to the world. And one of the common quotes that I've heard and a lot of women say is, you know, based on how a woman is dressing is how she plans on. Basically, if she's trying to show off her body, she wants attention from men.
She wants to what?
Old wives tell.
She wants to do
So,
what?
like, if women are advertising, they call it like advertising. So it's like she's all out. She got her body all out. It's kind of an old wives' tale that, you know, if she's out, if she's dressed like that, then she's advertising or she's trying to get attention and meet males.
Well, Steven, let me tell you something. No, time out. No, pause. Okay, well, let me tell you something. That's all fine and dandy, Steven. Let me tell you something. This past little pandemic we was just talking about in the little past segment, all that damn work and effort I was putting in, you know, hitting out, not eating the stuff that I wanted to eat, you know, hitting the gym, doing all that working out. Oh, it's gonna get advertised. What you talking about?
Yeah, so
I washed my car. I don't want nobody to steal it. I don't want nobody to steal my car because I washed it because I'm going out. Like, what?
Yeah, so I think, man, y'all gotta kind of like.
Can I finish what I'm saying? Like.
Oh, the old wives' tales threw us off. That part.
You know you were done. I mean, we're done. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Clearly.
And I'm man enough to let my wife wear the stuff.
Advertising. I'm talking about like short shorts and like you half naked. I'm not talking about like women who are moderately dressed. And I'm
talking about half naked. Yeah, half naked. Booty shorts.
Allow her to come out the house half naked.
Booty shorts.
I think we're clear. Listen, I think we're clear on what you're saying. This has been said for decades. Let me finish. This has been saying for decades. Let me be clear. I am a proponent of women dressing modestly. I am. I don't dress like maybe Cannon would. I'm not judging her for it. I'm not. That's her choice, right? I think, and then for some people in some cultures, you know, or some religions, and in some countries, they might say, well, you're not dressed modestly enough. Okay, everybody has different ideas about what, or different measures of what is modest, right? I don't encourage women to walk around half dressed, because I personally think your body ain't for everybody. That's my personal belief. Okay, we have heard for generations that women who dress in certain ways must be a whore, or they're so-called, like you said, are advertising themselves. That is a problematic way of thinking. You cannot say, no, Stephen, let me finish. Let me finish. Okay. You said that. You said it was an old wives' tale.
I didn't say it in that concept to accept sexual assault or sexual abuse. That's how.
But no. But listen. Let me finish. You don't mean it that way. But that is, you're manifesting those beliefs, and most men are not proponents of raping women. Okay, we all know that, right?
No.
But listen, let me finish. A lot of times you all say that, but then you'll also turn around and say, oh, look at her. She has this short dress on. She must want me. She must want me up in this. How on earth does that not sound like a man who doesn't understand sexual abuse?
Once again, you went off the concept. That's not even conceptual.
But you said that the woman is advertising herself.
Yeah, but it's just like, so you don't know, as far as the females on social media, when they become single, do you not see that there's a difference between pictures that they may post when they're in a relationship versus when they're single?
I don't have those types of friends. Oh, wait, go ahead.
I saw that with one of my friends.
Okay.
Got divorced.
If they get with a man,
lingerie now, man. It's sad.
Wait, hold on, one at a time. Stephen, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I feel like women are so quick to pull that you know, how I dress shouldn't define me. Like, men have been hearing that shit forever. We are tired of that shit.
But nobody, like, but I didn't say that, though.
I didn't say that it shouldn't define me. I said that how I dress gives no one the right to touch me. Those are two different arguments.
Men make the same arguments. When men are sagging down to their bottom, all of a sudden they're not bad people. Y'all can't make the same argument.
Well, anyway, the point that I was making, Stephen, is contrary to popular belief. In my experience as a woman, like I told Chaotic Truth, I have never been accosted, touched, whatever, when I'm dressed in a provocative manner. But when I'm walking through the mall, when I'm at the gas station, when I'm doing regular things, being dressed regularly, you have men who do not respect boundaries and think, okay, I can touch you, I can grab your hand, I can grab your arm, I can do whatever. Those are the experiences that I've had. So you can say in your mouth all you want to, that like, oh, you're dressed provocatively, so of course guys are going to do X, Y, Z. But that has not been my experience. My experience is that guys feel a lot more comfortable when they feel like you dress down. When I'm all dressed up and everything, I think they feel like intimidated to approach.
I'm pretty sure Stephen said the opposite of that, though.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. That's usually the case. So, like, that makes sense to me that you're not getting approached when you're dressed up.
Chaotic, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, and
were you done with that part?
No, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I definitely respect and agree with the caller. I'm glad he called in. He is making absolute sense. He's actually speaking the word of the Lord, if you ask me. Now, Mrs. Understanding, you said something that I found quite interesting.
I said men do the same. I'm going to reiterate in case you didn't hear me.
I was going to repeat what you said, but go ahead.
Okay. I said, man, this argument is lapsed when it comes to the guys that sag. You never hear, well, you better stop pulling the pants up because you know these men out here, they like to see a booty. You never hear that. So for some reason, men can sag and have their whole butt out. We're not supposed to judge them. We're not supposed to say anything about it. We're supposed to sit there and see their draws.
Wait a minute now, Mrs.
So
Understanding.
keep the same energy.
Mrs. Understanding, now you're being a little bit disingenuous here. You know damn
I see
well.
draws every day.
You know damn well men who sag are shamed, and boys, because I taught in high school, they were shamed every day they did it.
So it clearly didn't work because they still sagging.
We know it doesn't work.
This is just a bigger group of boys that do it. It's a trend.
But like I said, any man, and I've seen men over 30 sagging, they're still shamed. They're shamed unanimously. It's like, why are you sagging? Are you a criminal? Are you this? Are you that? What do you sag? It's always a negative connotation with sagging. There's nothing positive about sagging. So
to the people who don't sag.
Yeah,
I was going to say yes
to people who don't, and I agree. But I think misunderstanding. I think you gave an example, but I think that it's kind of. Can I ask you a question? Misunderstanding. Are you over the age of 30?
No, not yet. I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
I knew it. And in canon, I could almost bet you're not over the age of 32.
Okay. All right now.
In the 1990s,
I'll accept that, but I am 38 years old.
I know, right?
Okay, now hear me out for a minute. In the 19, now hopefully the young man is still on the panel, and Darwin and Rashad, you guys already know because you already told me your ages. In the 1990s, let's be completely honest. If women,
80s,
now women, I remember the 1990s like it was yesterday. That was the funnest decade of my life.
That's the best R&B.
In the 90s,
oh my God.
In the 90s, what would Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion be called? Keep it real.
Hoochie mamas.
The same thing. Look, the same
Scallywags.
They will be called prostitutes.
Right, the same thing. Foxy
Let's
Brown
be honest.
was called.
Well, hold on for a second. Women in the 90s typically dress, even the black women dress conservative to
Little
a degree.
Kim and Foxy Brown dress conservative.
You're talking about outliers.
But you just brought up Cardi B and Meg.
They are not outliers.
Trying to trick us.
Hold on, wait a minute. Give me a second.
Aaliyah wasn't half dressed all the time.
Well,
it's okay with baggy pants.
So let's take that right.
Give me a second.
What's your point?
Give me a second. I'm very familiar with female rappers of the 90s.
I'm not just talking about rappers.
MC Light didn't dress provocatively.
She's one that
Queen Latifah didn't dress provocatively. Now, let me ask you this. Every female rapper now dresses like a stripper.
No, they don't.
That is a lie.
Every female artist.
The female rappers that you pay attention to. The ones that get
what is your point?
Jasmine Sullivan don't dress like a stripper.
She's not a rapper.
Because he's trying to use a social something that I could use as a social indictment, like it proves something. No, and even the fact that you would just even bring up like what would they be called in the 90s, as though like women haven't always been disrespected for expressing their sexuality.
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
What are you talking about? This is like men just want to be out here doing whatever the hell they want to do. Bitches and shit, but
we get judged for the same thing.
Look, you gotta be respected. No, have several.
However you dress, you're gonna get judged for how you get dressed.
And they're gonna get their booty touched.
Sorry, Ashley, my camera.
Hold on. I'm gonna let Steven say his last point, and then we're gonna move on. And then we'll continue the conversation. I'll get Steven off. Steven, what did you want to say? What was the last thing you wanted to say?
I was just going to say, man, it seems like every time we have a conversation, y'all bring up what men are doing and, trying to make a comparison. And at the end of the day, we're symmetrical, right? So everything we do, y'all don't need to look at us and what we doing, right? And I think that's...
So let us sag. Let us have our booties out.
It's starting to get ridiculous.
I'm sorry. I can't respect that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Let them say. Just stop.
What are you talking about? We're not talking about what men do. This is not about double standards.
Women dressing, and then we were talking about sagging.
Okay, but listen, you're not getting the point.
We're talking about how women are dressing conservative.
Yeah, who brought up this
sagging? Making is that no dude should be getting bust upside his head just because he got his pants sagging.
Right. So that's the
no
point.
Woman should be getting snatched up just because she got on a short skirt.
Listen. I think men and women will probably always argue about this. Nobody is hearing anything. Men, y'all say that y'all think logically a lot of times, but this is a case where y'all don't think logically. You are thinking with
this is one.
Listen, this is one, because think about it. I agree. I personally believe that for me, I don't think my body should be all out there for the world. I don't. That's not what I want to do. Men don't like it. Men don't have to like it. Men don't have to respect it. But for you to sit here and say, look at that girl right there. She must be taking all these men. She must be trying to get with me. Or she probably will go sleep with my friend. You can think that, but that does not mean that it's logically, it doesn't make sense. That does not necessarily make sense. Think about women. Wait, let me finish, please. Let me finish. Think about a woman who is fully dressed. Does that mean that she ain't home? No. So
that's why all these men be dating, marrying these hoes.
You all always bring up, oh, y'all.
That is true.
It just doesn't make sense.
That's true.
So you can say, like, when you said advertising, I thought you meant like, oh, she's trying to put herself on show. Like she calling men to sleep with her. Is that what you meant?
No, I don't. I mean advertising like she's single.
So you think women dress? So first off, let's be clear. Like I get really frustrated with some men because it's like, okay, so you saw these girls on Facebook. First off, they're your Facebook friends. That said something, okay?
And y'all up and down his time.
You see all.
But what's wrong with that?
You see all these women who are dressed a certain way, and supposedly they're now single. So because they're single now, let me go be half naked. For some reason, you see that on your timeline. I don't see that a lot. I don't see that.
I just saw it, and it's someone I know in person.
But of course, it would be.
That ain't on my timeline either.
But your timeline, listen, your timeline is not representative of every woman.
Your timeline is who you interact with the most and what you be liking the most. So you're going to see the most of it. I'm just saying. That's how the algorithm works.
Say it again. So you're saying that women act differently.
Nigga told on himself.
They're in a relationship versus when they're single.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. There are some
women popping up my timeline.
There are some, Steven, I think people need to understand truth versus perception. I don't know women who dress differently because they single. Y'all watch a lot of world hip hop. Y'all be on YouTube where everybody talking about the same thing. Everybody got the same talking points. You pick
you're not in the market, so why would you?
What do you mean I'm not in the market?
You're not in the market,
Ashley. You're saying people don't act different when they're single than when they're in a relationship?
He's saying that women dress differently and act differently when they're single. Now I'm saying
dress and act differently or when they're single.
But what's the problem with that anyways?
But everybody can.
That's what I was gonna say. Don't most people do that?
Most people do that.
Everybody can do something different.
I didn't say there was. We just talked about there's a difference and noticing the difference. I didn't say there was an issue. Y'all brought up the advertising and sexual harassment.
You said advertising.
Yeah,
I'm the one who said advertising.
The way y'all took it.
Well, that's what I was asking you. Are you saying that a woman who dresses a certain way is advertising herself to mean that she wants more men? And then your response to that was, well, I see a whole lot of women on my feed, on my news feed, that say, oh, I'm single, I'm going to be dressed in this way, and I'm going to act different.
I got a lot of single women in my news feed. And they be half naked. You got a lot of half naked single women on your news feed, Steven?
Hold on.
You said what now?
I said you got a lot of half naked single women on your news feed, Steven.
No, I don't even like seeing half naked women.
Well, how you be seeing them on your Facebook?
I didn't say I did. I said it's pretty known that some women will dress and act differently when they're single on social media than when they're in a relationship.
Well, how do you know that if you haven't seen it? You heard that?
So you say that they dress differently and act differently.
Somebody told you that?
So women on your
So wait. Oh my God.
When
This
his
is frustrating.
homeboy's girlfriend broke up with him.
This is frustrating. So hold on. We're saying that Stephen is saying that women, when they're single, are advertising themselves for attention from men, not sexual harassment, not sexual assault, just attention. Like, I want a man. I'm single. I don't have a man. Come look at me. That's how you get a man.
That's what's supposed to happen. Shit.
Yeah. So but then he's saying that you guys are bringing up like sexual assault and rape and sagging and all this stuff like that. He's saying that's not what he's saying.
Okay,
but it's kind of just gone left field.
Here's the thing, though. Then doesn't everyone? If that's the case, don't every woman advertise themselves? I'm just trying to like.
Not in that way. Not like being half naked. No.
Okay,
it's
so
just the preference of how they want to dress. I mean,
so women become single and then they start dressing half naked to get men.
A lot might, and I'm saying a woman does a lot of times dress more provocatively when they're single, wanting attention from men. What I think, well, I'll just say how I feel. I think basically bringing that type of attention, even though they're not looking for sexual, like, oh, sexually harass me. I think that is what guys, whether it's right or wrong, what guys think. And no different than like if you're dressed like a bum, people are going to assume you're a bum. No, like Chappelle said, if you're dressed like a policeman, people are going to assume you're a policeman.
Do you think that it's more likely based on this conversation that I'm having from you gentlemen right here, right now? I'm sensing there's a certain thread coming through. Do you think that maybe possibly those women who like to dress a certain way, maybe once they get into a relationship, those men are all like, why aren't you wearing that? I'm gonna be fighting. I'm so insecure. Yeah. And so
my thing is, if you're wearing when you're single, that's
yes,
who you are. Like,
Cannon, yes.
Right. So does that mean that they were advertising before, or does that just mean they're trying to make adjustments to respect their relationship because of the male ego? Yet again.
Well, if you're asking me,
that ego is fragile. That ego is, you gotta.
Well, Cannon, if you're asking me, my wife was properly vetted. She was always conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I dated a girl who dressed like a hoe, and she's dressed like a hoe the whole time, and she was a hoe.
I almost choked on this apple right here. So Cannon, answer your question. It's not about changing.
When I was with her, and she's still probably a hoe now.
Cannon, it's not about. But here goes the thing, Cannon. It's not about. Excuse me. It's not about changing a woman. It's about that woman already being a woman when you meet her. Fact. So my wife grew up in a nuclear family, super conservative. You know. So I didn't have to.
I don't disagree. No,
yeah,
I
know.
Agree with you. Yeah, if that's the type of.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, Cannon?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be funny, and Ashley and Mrs. Understand, you can answer this too.
No, it's fine.
If what you're saying about conservative women is true, how come prostitutes aren't out there with dresses to their ankles? Prostitutes.
What did I say about conservative women?
No, I'm not saying that you particularly. I'm talking about this.
Okay, I can answer that question.
Yeah, how come they're not out there with? Yeah, how come Muslim women aren't in the hijab prostituting?
So I think
there are women in hijabs that are prostitutes. What are you talking about? You don't think that there are any Muslim prostitutes? What you're telling me?
No.
So you live in the south side of Chicago. You see Muslim prostitutes on the street?
I didn't say on the south side of Chicago, but there are Muslim prostitutes.
Right. Are they prostituting? Let me ask you a question. Are they in Chicago? Have you ever seen a woman prostituting where?
Doesn't matter where they are. They're existing and they're prostitutes and they have on a hijab.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever seen them on the stroll with their hijab on in Chicago?
No, because
that's a cultural thing.
I don't ever see a lot of Muslim women on the south side of Chicago in general. Where there are a lot of Muslim women, there are Muslim.
You don't see people. Well, a lot of Muslim women in short dresses,
and they're
not. You're not going to see an American prostitute dress
they have
like
different.
American.
I was in Saudi Arabia one time. Oh, I was in Saudi Arabia one time. I went.
Ashley capping. Keep it real. No, Ashley, I'm playing.
I was there for one day. I was on my way to India. Okay. I had on sweatpants because I had just gotten off the airplane. I was with my church. Okay, about to do some missionary work, and I had on short sleeves.
Why you had them arms out?
Exactly.
What kind of
I was so excited to be there.
Why did you have your arms out?
I was in the bathroom,
Got them.
and
Definitely.
why I have my arms out? Because Americans wear T-shirts with their
She
arms
gonna
out.
answer it. Girl was
Because you're advertising, Ashley. That's the wrong
You're
answer.
advertising
You're
your arm.
advertising. Men
So I
know
walked
elbows
into the
turn them on. Come on.
So
now.
I walked
She
into
was
the
turning me on.
bathroom. I walk into the bathroom, and I'm so excited, right? Because I'm in Saudi Arabia, and I'm very intrigued by Middle Eastern culture. So I'm just really happy to be there.
Girl,
And
well, you
there's
sure knew not to
a
have them
Middle
arms out.
Eastern woman, a Middle Eastern woman next to me washing her hands, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
how are you? Like, I'm just ready and excited to talk to her and make a connect, try to meet somebody new and different from me. She looked at me and with the nastiest look. I mean, the nastiest look, and turned her head, didn't say a word. I don't know for sure, but I think it has something to do with the fact that I had my arms shown. And so I say that to say that cultures have different ideas of modesty. Okay.
All I'm saying, too,
I agree. No.
Y'all ain't never saw a fully dressed
So,
prostitute before?
Too chaotic.
he's saying you can't be fully dressed in hoes.
So what I'm saying is that
They out here.
Chicago, yeah, you see a lot of half-dressed. They're prostitutes.
How
And
would you
this
know?
is
You
how
fully dressed. You saw how
they-
cold it is
This
out
is
here?
how they get their trick or whatever.
How would you know?
But
They got on baby fat coats.
But does that mean that? Do you guys know what is the circle? I forget what it's called. There's something called exclusive versus like non-exclusive, and so like you could have women who are dressed that way, who are prostitutes, and they're looking to have sex, right? All prostitutes do that. All prostitutes do that, but that is not mutually exclusive to all women who dress that way.
Ashley, can I say something real quick? I'm sorry to cut you off. Guys, thank you for allowing me on the panel. I do got to roll out.
All right.
Guys,
Okay.
please come to my channel. Next topic is, should women be able to drive a car? No, I'm not doing that topic. I was joking around. No, I'm joking around. But yeah, please come to my channel, The Chaotic Truth Live. I definitely subscribed, Ashley, and thank you for allowing me on the panel. I go live pretty much every night at 7 p.m. Eastern time if you guys are on the East Coast.
Oh, if you be talking this crazy, I'm definitely gonna hop on a couple.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. I'm not an echo chamber either. So you could give your opinion and perspective. I won't say anything. I just listen to everybody's opinion.
Okay.
Now, if you say 2 + 2 is 5, then I beg your pardon.
You hopping off in an opportune time. I was trying to answer your question.
Oh, what was it?
But no, it's okay. It's okay because we've been talking about so much. I was just pretty much. I think we probably just are always going to disagree. Like I think I get what y'all are saying. Like women, I think women should be modest. I just think we have to be careful with the conclusions we draw based off of how people are dressed. And I mean, there are so many reasons for that, and so many contexts in which men are affected by that as well. And I just think it needs to be addressed. You know, we got Travion. How many all thieves go in the store with hoodies and black ski masks? Pretty much most thieves, they do that, right? At least back in the day, they used to cover their face. Now, I don't know, they kind of dumb. But most of them used to cover their face. Does that mean that every black man walking down the street with a ski or with a black, whatever you call it?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I cross the street when I see blacks like that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, I don't cross the street. No.
That's your prerogative. But I just think we have to be careful with the conclusions we draw about how people dress.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's called a bias. And that's okay. We all have them.
Well, thank you, Chaotic.
Hey, guys, have a good one. Salute to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
What were you saying, Stephen?
No, I'm gonna say this and I'm out. I think that's the purpose of clothes is for you to express yourself and what you're about. You know, that's kind of how people are able to make a first impression of you.
Yeah, I mean, it says something about you, but I think we do still have to be careful.
We have to be careful, but it can't be non-existent just because every woman thinks differently. So.
No, the thing is that as far as judging people based on how they dressed and their appearance, that is something that human beings do, period. Because of it's a survival mechanism that we have in our brains that we make split-second decisions about people, but a lot of those split-second decisions that we make are steeped in a lot of biases and stereotypes. So it's important to be aware of that. Instead of telling everybody else that there's something wrong with them, it's more important to address your own biases and try to figure out why you think the way that you do, as opposed to just thinking it's just reality, because it's not.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much,
Well, you guys have a
Stephen.
wonderful night.
Thank you. All right, y'all. We had a long one. We had one more topic, and we're not going to do it tonight, but that topic was pertaining to the Black church and its role in our community. How significant is it? It's getting late. We had a good run. I had a lot of fun tonight. I enjoyed the conversation. It got a little crazy and frustrating at one point. Yeah, whatever. But does anyone want to close us out?
Good night.
Thank y'all so much, everyone who tuned in. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and share on Facebook. Send the link to some friends and a text message. Let them know about our channel, and come join us in the ladies' room. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Y'all allowed to leave, ladies.